neck.
Right. We've got 156, 157 leads. The NDA is just about to touch the 100 mark. Now, if you look at the halfway right above there, they're going to touch the 100 mark. Another 25 leads, 24 leads, they would breach the halfway mark. The NDA, that's where it is. At the NDA at 99, 40 for the BJP, 41 for the LJP. That's their best ever performance. If this 8 holds, that will be their best ever performance.
NDA is at 100.
NDA is at 100. So 100 leads this morning for the NDA. The early trend showing that the NDA is walking away, marching comfortably, leaving the opposition behind, far behind. It's not a neck and neck race, almost halfway distance, 50%, 54 for the INDIA, 100 for the 102 for the NDA. That's what the leads are at this point. 102 again, racing up to the halfway mark faster. Viewers, right at the top of the screen you can see this is the halfway belt, and this will keep tracking who's past the post, 102 right above the screen. I'm just pointing to right to the top of the screen, and you can see it. It's firing there. 102 leads for the NDA. 103 now, so it's increasing, really increasing. Sandeep ji.
It's 8:45, which means we must be going beyond.
The EVMs will open. Just let's ask Griha. Griha, when is the EVM opening?
So
what's the update?
Has opened.
EVMs have opened. Let's break that. EVMs have opened.
JDU is the one that's leading. We have so far called 3, in fact, seats where JDU is leading. Supal, there's also Mahanagar, and there's also Rajapakar. JDU is leading from all of these 3 constituencies. Zaka.
All right, one other interesting point, last time MIM did pretty well. He had 5 MLAs. This time MIM has not opened its account. Let's look at the others. Let's try and see if he's opened his account yet. I think he's opened it in one place. Yeah, it's down 5 because all the 5 were MIM seats. This time I think the Muslim vote, particularly in Simanchal, seems to have gravitated towards the India Alliance. They don't want to do the MIM experiment again if these leads hold.
Yes. Anybody? There was some conversation. Yes.
No. We were just talking about the AIMIM. And I think for that at least one needs to give some credit to the Congress, because there was a feeling across the board that this time AIM is getting no purchase in Bihar because of huge consolidation, thanks to both the RJD and the Congress, because of the stances taken by Rahul Gandhi.
Or have the Muslim voters gone back to their traditional voter bases, or who they are?
No, but for that they need to get some confidence also.
Be it the JDU candidate, be it the RJD or
No, they need to get some confidence also.
Or even the BJP candidate.
Yeah.
Also, let's also keep in mind that in the NDA, not only are the 2 big partners doing their job, the third partner also is contributing and not contributing in a negative way like last time. That I think is also crucial.
Last time it was just 1, but this time it's already 8. The RLM has 5, the HAM has 3. So the smaller partners, you're right, the smaller partners are also pulling their weight. Already just between these 2, they are up 13 from last time. So that's a significant jump up.
And Zaka, that VIP is not doing well. I mean,
and that VIP is not doing well.
They were offered Deputy Chief Minister post also.
No, for all that they did about Mukesh Sahni, but the moment they announced him as Deputy
He's
CM,
still not opened his account. VIP is still not opened his account.
He was worried that his brother, who's contesting, that they were going to buy out the candidate, and the Congress had fielded another candidate there.
And most exit polls were actually indicating that VIP.
Importance of the LJP factor in this, because of the last time when they were fighting against, and they cut a lot of somewhere 36 seats at least, they made the difference for of victory and defeat.
So right now
for
they're
the
leading
Indian
in 8 seats. 3 seats in the southern belt, south of Magad, 1 in Bhojpur. He's also got a bunch of seats here in the eastern part of the state. These are the 8 leads that the LJP is currently in.
Yeah, interestingly, now the JDU and the BJP have opened up a lead against the RJD. RJD is less than 40 leads. The JDU is the single largest party 46. With 46 leads. BJP 44. RJD is at 39 leads right now. Yeah.
JDU.
All right. I mean, look at where the pockets from where JDU and BJP are getting. This part, of course, you would expect Nitish Kumar, but this part, the Mithilanchal part, you don't necessarily expect him to do well. Here in the Champarans, he's got 3-4 seats. Here in Simanchal as well, he's got about 3 or 4 seats where he's leading in. So I think, here a bunch of seats right in the heart of the state, again, a bunch of leads. So the JDU is opening up in different regions, and that is an indication. That is an indication already. Remember, he's already at 46. Last time he only had 43. So he's already leading in more number of constituencies than last time. I suspect this, if these trends hold, this figure will inch closer towards 65, maybe even 70.
Well, 105 for the NDA in terms of the leads out of 167. So we've got more than half the number of have leads coming to about 175, 180 leads. And let's look at this. ये JDO, NDA and महागठबंधन की cycle वहाँ से आ रही है धीरे धीरे दौड़ा के, and halfway number viewers is 122. The NDA is 107. So this cycle is now 105, and even as he's coming down, well, that number has gone up. It's become 107. So that means very soon they will be past this halfway number of 122 and into comfortably getting into a position of being able to form government.
The NDA has 2 out of every 3 leads, so it's
almost
in the leads it's leading in
2 out of every 3 leads.
107 and 58,
109 and 58. So 2 out of every 3 leads are going towards the NDA. So this could be quite a runaway victory. 160 seems possible if these trends hold. And now viewers, EVMs have opened. So we are also now into round 1 of counting across a lot counting centers, or the 46 counting centers. We just try and go to Griha at the live result hub to understand how many counting centers EVM counting has already begun, because these leads now are beyond the postal ballot. So they should start consolidating and settling very soon. Yes, Griha.
Okay, Anand, we are still figuring out the routes of counting. Right now, we have about 4 leads that are coming in from EVMs, but one new player on the leaderboard, that is AIMIM, they have shown that lead, and there is one candidate from the AIMIM that is right now leading, Akhtarul Iman from Amor. So that's a new addition that we can tell you. So far, the EVMs have just about opened up. We are still seeing where the leads are coming in early on, but right now we do see JDU is leading. Randhir Kumar Soni from Sheikhpura is leading. There is another BJP candidate, Pramod Kumar Sinha from Roxol, who is also leading. So all of these leads are coming.
The JDU now leads in 50 seats. The JDU now leads in 50 seats. BJP in 48. The RJD in 40. Interestingly, the left is leading in more seats than the Congress party. And the NDA overall in 113 seats, just 9 short of the halfway mark. 9 short of the halfway mark in these morning trends and the early leads for the NDA.
So VIP has just opened. VIP has just opened its account. We'll try and see which that seat is. Griha might have more on that. But you're Congress leading in 9, but if you put all the left parties together, they're leading in 10. But the problem for the India Alliance, again, it's the RJD that's pulling its weight for the entire alliance. The rest of the partners don't seem to be pulling their weight. 40 for the RJD, between Congress, left, VIP, everyone put together, it's barely about 15 seats.
But is the RJD strike rate also looking weaker than the last time around, Zaka?
Absolutely,
is it looking
absolutely.
Weaker?
The strike rate is looking weaker because A, they contested more seats this time around, and B, they are not winning as much as they did last time around. Whose strike rate is improving as far as the NDA is concerned? It's the JDU, because it's already +7 from last time. Remember, the JDU won just 43 last time. The BJP had won 75, 74, so they're down 24. But remember, they're fighting less seats this time as well. Last time they fought 115, this time they're fighting 101. So you have to discount that extra 14 seats. But the BJP, it seems, has sort of decided to play second fiddle this time around, giving equal seats to JDU, and JDU is backing up that faith by increasing its tally already at 50. Like I said, if it goes at this rate, I suspect he will be pushing.
In fact, he will be 50-50 partner, and they are currently doing 50-50 partnership. That's what's happening. 101 seats each, and they're going at 50-51 seats as a lead, down to 38. So some of the leads are transferring to the NDA. Is it a runaway victory? Look at the lead. Just 5 more leads and they would be past the halfway mark, or they would be at the halfway mark of 122. 6 more leads and at 123 they would be past the post in terms of leads, and that would be significant. Look at the INDIA, it's just less than half now. Now exactly 2 out of the 3 leads are now going towards the NDA, as Sandeep Shastriji was saying, and more importantly the cameo roles are also happening. So it's like a team play that's going on, because some of the smaller partners are also pulling their weight.
Yeah, I mean, NJP at 8, RLM at 5, Harm Party at 3, that itself is 16 seats, 16 leads as of now. So that is also contributing to this. 117. If you take away these 16, they'll be closer to 100. Again, that would, but that you would expect, because if the bigger parties are pulling their weight, then it has a sort of knock-on effect for the smaller ones as well. In the India alliance, that's not happening.
If this holds, you know, one thing would be very, very clear, that Rahul Gandhi's this yatra has damaged the alliance in many, many ways. One is that the whole optics of Rahul Gandhi preceding over Tejashwi, that who is the much stronger partner, you know, that actually pissed off the
Rahul Gandhi Yatra seats, 135 out of 243. The NDA is leading in 90 out of those, and India Alliance only at 41.
And
so
then delaying the chief ministerial candidate announcement from the Congress's side. I mean, Gehlot had to come in and then announce it, which Rahul should have done it.
Correct.
No, no. I think, you see, the Congress had played at, you know, done a kind of bit of a gambling by changing its, social profile in Bihar, where they have tried, instead of consolidating on upper caste with a traditional vote bank, they moved towards the economically backward classes, etc. And took on JDU, that vote constituency, which they have not been very successful as far as this trend goes. So I think that is something that is, so they experimented, which has failed, or a boomerang.
So even on the Rahul Yatra seats, look at that, Congress only leading in 8, RJD leading in 27. So clearly there was a minimal impact of the SIR Yatra.
क्या कह रहे हैं सर?
Yes,
sir.
Yes, because they took on JDU, and JDU is emerging stronger. So obviously the Congress is going to be the loser.
No, but the Congress, one, gave the wrong tickets. Two, decided to unnecessarily create all this drama about who will be the CM face.
No, I don't think that
pulled the cart in a different direction.
Tejashwi was
drawing up something, and this guy comes and pulls the yatra and the whole thing towards somewhere. So did you actually? That's the story happened of the narrative actually.
No, you are entitled to the story. I don't think there was any doubt in the mind of a voter there that if the Mahagathbandhan wins, then Mr. Tejashwi Yadav will be the chief minister. There was no doubt about it. It was just that whether they said it or not, that's a matter of...
It is like the non-striker, the batsman calling for a single, and the non-striker said, "No boundary mark." No non-striker, no boundary mark.
India is just one shot of majority.
One shot of halfway mark. One shot of halfway mark.
Now it is.
One shot. Now 122. The NDA at the halfway mark. There we go. The cycle of the NDA with the Litti Choka coming all the way and swinging right under the halfway mark. That's where it is. NDA and the Mahagathbandhan and the INDIA left far behind. The NDA 122, 2 out of the 3 leads this morning are going the NDA's way. There you go. And as it goes past right at 122, and we will see whether or not the next lead takes it past the post and gets it past the post. That's where it is. Right at the halfway mark is the NDA. The specialty choka this morning is going their way. 63 leads. Half 50%. 2 out of the 3 leads have gone to the NDA. This looks like a runaway victory, sir. अभी तो 200 सीट का भी लीड नहीं आया है. 190 पर पहुंच रहे हैं.
See, I think like what India Alliance did in terms of SIR Yatra, I think that was fine, because what it did, it actually mobilizes your cadres. So, but you had to build on from there. The problem is that the two partners sort of like campaign on very different narrative.
Correct.
Congress never left the SIR narrative, and by the sort of like campaign started, RJD and Tejashwi Yadav wanted a very different kind of narrative. So campaign didn't look cohesive for the India Alliance as it did for NDA.
So the NDA is now crossed the halfway mark. It's at 124.
124.
For big leads as far as the JDU is concerned. The BJP, JDU neck and neck. BJP is down 19 from last time. They had 75. The JDU at 53, already plus 10 seats. The LJP, RLM and the HAM are pulling their weight. There are 16 seats between the 3 smaller parties. But it's the JDU, BJP story all the way, and in particular the JDU story, because they are gaining 10 seats from last time. As far as the RJD India Alliance is concerned, again the bulk of the heavy hitting is being done by the RJD. It too is getting from different parts of the state. From the southern part of the state, they should have done better. They did better in the southern part, south of Magad last time around. They haven't this time around. We're also awaiting more results from that part. But they're also opening up in the central part of the state. You would expect them to do well in Simanchal. But look at the differential between the senior partner and the junior partner. 45 to the RJD. That's down 30. Last time he had 75. In fact, when there is on result day, they were the single largest party. They're down 30 from last time. The Congress at 19. They're down 9 from last time, leading only in 10. And the left parties between them have 10 seats. The VIP has opened its account in 1 seat. So right now we're looking at 124 to 68.
Right from day one, and never said this out loud, I'm saying it, the results may be irrespective of what the results are, was always of the opinion that in Bihar, Tejashwi should fight alone. Tejashwi should fight with some of the smaller local Bihar groups and then keep it open to tie up with the Congress once the results are settled. Perhaps the traction and perhaps the turnout for and the strike rate of the RJD would have gone up far greater had they fought in more number of seats and done better rather than ally with the Congress. Yeah.
These trends forward, the point which Rahul made about the campaign of the India alliance not being
Cohesive.
Going together. On the other hand, if you look at the NDA campaign, though the JDU and BJP campaign were distinctive in their own ways, they were not pulling in opposite directions. The JDU focused on Nitish's government, the BJP focused on their central leadership and their governments in other states. So, in a sense, that complemented each other and did not lead to the challenges which you are seeing in the case of the India alliance.
Yes,
I think there's also a story here to follow, continuing this discussion, that AIMIM, like the narrative that was built, that it's a B team of the BJP, I think that has worked. And then also the credit that was Congress, that they have consistently hyper-focused on minority issues and internationalized some of those issues. So I do think that that little shift has happened, although it does establish a 20-something% base, voter base for them. The rest of it has
even region-wise, look at where the Congress has opened its account. 6 out of the 9 leads that they have right now are all in Simanchal, and you would imagine that that's the case, and that is how it's plotting itself on the map.
I think the problem that's what happened in Delhi Assembly also, if you remember.
The AIMIM voter, or those who the Muslim votes that did not want to vote for the BJP or the NDA, earlier gravitated to the AIMIM, now seem to have gone to the Congress, because the last time those AIM candidates immediately after elections defected into and joined the RJD. So they said कि अरे यही करने वाला तो उसी को दे दें. साकेत मिश्रा जी, गुड मॉर्निंग.
मॉर्निंग.
ये तो बिहार आपके बगल में ही है, आपके जहाँ से आप आते हैं, ईस्टर्न यूपी. थोड़ा सा दूर, ज्यादा नहीं. हवा उधर से. पर आपको क्या लग रहा है, हवा कैसी चल रही है?
हवा अच्छी चल रही है. I mean, it's a basic contradiction. I mean, when I stepping away from all the detailed discussions, I think one side there's a party that, to whatever extent, is believable in terms of what they want to do, the NDA, and they have a coherent program. The other side, you have a bunch of contradictory guys who actually do not have a common program, common ideology, except hate Modi. And that eventually cannot be a reason for governance. And Tejashwi, I suppose, has lost his value. So, you can have a chat GPT employment program, but without thinking, it doesn't really
So let
work.
me ask you this. The last time around, the NDA and the BJP had an attack dog in Chirag Paswan who was attacking Nitish. This time around, there was nobody like that. Why the recalibration? And it was all Nitish all the way. Why?
Because I think everybody realized that he is, in the circumstances, the best leader there is, and has the maturity to run the government and pull everybody together, and is performing, I would say, better than most chief ministers in the recent past in Bihar.
Now with 200 leads, the NDA is at 130, better, 5 more than what they had the last time around. With 43 leads more to come, can the NDA cross the 160 mark now in terms of leads? If these trends, if these leads hold, is the 160 looking possible?
Yes, it is looking possible, provided the numbers that are coming from the ground are actually correct, right?
Yeah.
Like if
the EVM countings have become, these are ballots. Centers, what they are reporting, these leads, moment it comes to 243, you will see more or less settling. Over the course of the next hour and a half, you will see the leads largely settling.
I think after an hour, things will become far more clear. India seems to have an advantage.
No, because 2 out of 3 leads, for that to be reversed looks nearly impossible, although anything can happen with respect to Bihar. I would still hedge that and say that. But in this case, if 130 out of 200 leads, 201 out of 42 seats more to be declared, is 160 for the NDA looking possible?
It is looking possible, but personally, I can tell you that even if they get 125 seats, it doesn't make a difference beyond a point. a miss is as good as a mile. You get 1 or 2 seats over the halfway mark. You're forming the government.
But does it matter if JDU is higher than the BJP?
That will matter on the ground, because it'll show that a lot of things that we have been talking about in terms of the public discourse and among the people in that state, it has translated in terms of sentiment. Everybody says that, the Bihar election is about arithmetic. I thought that this time it was very, very sentiment driven.
It was
Sentiment driven.
for two reasons. Last time the BJP became much larger than JDU. So there was this whole thing that this is Nitish Kumar's last election, he's wiped out, all of that. Also that he could be removed as chief minister at a later point. If he's far bigger, then it in Bihar, but also for national politics. Because Nitish Kumar's importance for national politics becomes far more important. He becomes as powerful as Chandrababu Naidu.
Within the central
so right
government.
now the breakup is BJP is leading in 59, the JDU in 54, but the JDU is up 11 from last time. The JDU won just 43 because 30 odd seats, the LJP factor hurt the JDU, so the JDU has picked up. The LJP did not have any seats last time. It's leading in 9, RLM in 5 and the Harm in 3. So that's 17 seats just within the 3 smaller parties. But it's really the story of these two, the bigger partners who are pulling their weight, and they are really...
The BJP is showing minus 15 because there are still about 40 leads to come. So they may make up and they may still emerge as the single largest party within the NDA. Maybe 2 or 3 seats ahead of the JDU, or maybe 2 or 3 seats behind the JDU.
Is for compared to last time number. It's not about whether they're gaining.
Also, BJP is fighting less seats this time.
It's fighting much lesser seats.
BJP and JDU are going to have similar numbers, then RJD cannot mathematically have number closer them. So then in case the fight is going to be between JDU and BJP, who emerges number 1, and given like just 202 out of 243, if you project that number, NDA will be 161.
Well, 130 leads out of 202 leads. 130 leads out of 202 leads for the NDA, 2 and 3 going towards the NDA as of now. That's what it's indicatively looking like. Now there's a little bit of a slip. NDA now comes down to 129. See, now these leads will start transacting a little and swinging a little. But we've got Sohail Seth also joining us. Sohail ji, good morning.
Good morning.
Bihar settled lag raha hai aapko?
I still think it's even Stevens. I don't think you can call the election in any which way. I'm only worried about what Prashant Kishore said once in an interview, where he said he doesn't want to be chief minister, but he wouldn't mind being kingmaker. So depending on how Jan Swaraj does, it's still...
Jan Swaraj is leading in 3 seats as of now, Sohail ji.
So let's say he can't be kingmaker. I can't imagine him even making a pawn, if you take the chess analogy. But it's still early. See, the problem I have is not with NDA or with the Mahagathbandhan. My problem is, and you know this better than I do, that you've had a chief minister who's been in power almost for 20 years. The affairs is pitiable. Now, if he gets re-elected, I have to give credit for that more to Amit Shah than to Nitish Kumar, because this would require skillful electoral management when you've actually not done real development for the people. So, I mean, that's my belief. So
but in terms of real development, the pull from Raghu that connects Raghupur to Patna is something that was 20 years in waiting. It has happened. The airport at Purnia, nobody thought that it will ever happen, and it has happened. The airport in Patna, nobody thought it will happen, and it has happened. So there are a lot of things that Bihar did not have, it has now.
No,
but yes, there are a lot of things Bihar should have and it doesn't have. I agree there too.
You're right. But look at unemployment. Infrastructure money is spent by the government. Most of it, as you know, is stolen by contractors who have a deep nexus with the politician. I'm talking about jobless growth. I'm talking about employment. I'm talking about people having not to migrate out of their home states. You know how many people from Bihar, especially the young, are actually moving out to different states because they don't see a future for themselves. And by the way, many years ago, and I must flag this off because it'll be of interest to your viewers, I wrote an article where I said, look at the irony of Bihar. 50% of the doctors at that point in time in All India Institute of Medical Sciences were from Bihar, and so were 50% of the patients, which means Bihar hadn't developed its own healthcare infrastructure. Second point I made is 50% of the IAS officers at that point in time were from Bihar. and yet Bihar's development
Correct.
suffered.
So-
So there is a tinge of irony that we must contend ourselves.
No, I think in terms of a mission statement for whoever forms government and the Bihar 2025 has to be that the Bihari should not have to go out of Bihar.
Absolutely.
I think that has to, in terms of, should not be forced. It should have the option to, but should not be forced. There should be enough and more that should be.
People want to live in their own.
Just quickly going across to Shivani over in Patna. Shivani, you got a lot of guests around and people, what's the mood with the early trends coming through? Whose shoulders are drooping and whose are not?
Yes, so mood here is, the mood here, Anand, is that these are all expected lines. The big parties, BJP, JDU and the RJD are all pulling their weight. Their numbers are not surprising to anybody. But I want to get you the story of the supporting acts. I have with me the LJP, the Congress, the HAM, even Jan Swaraj. I'll get quick reactions from them. LJP fought on half the seats that Congress did, but your strike, it's going to be much, much better. LJP's number and Congress numbers are virtually the same. And that is where the story lies between the two alliances. Are you happy with the LJP numbers so
Of
far?
course we are, but I'm sure in coming time we are going to increase our seat, and we are very happy. We are going to make government with the thumping victory.
And Congress was supposed to be the laggard of the Mahagathbandhan, and the numbers that are coming out, just about 10-11 leads for the Congress party. You are going to bring down the Mahagathbandhan.
No, it is not like that. This time we have, since 9 months we have worked hard on the ground, and it is the only party who raised the issue of the Bihar and Biharis, and we are fighting for the right of Biharis. So I can bet you, and I'm very sure that as the time progresses and as the ballot magical box opens, the number will be in favor of Congress and India Gathbandhan.
But the BJP allies are doing well, and HAM is also with us. Happy with the performance so far?
देखिए पूरी तरह से और हम लोग आश्वस्त हैं कि हम लोग 2010 के प्रदर्शन को दोहराएंगे और हम 3/4 बहुमत से आएंगे. बाकी तो अभी 2 घंटे में सब कुछ क्लियर हो जाएगा.
क्लियर हो जाएगा. पिक्चर अभी थोड़ी बाकी है, but there are of course leads that have come on virtually 200 seats and already the majority mark for the NDA. I have Jan Swaraj representative with me. I think I see 3 seats, 3 leads for the JSP. Are you happy with the early trend so far?
Definitely we are happy and we are hopeful also, and as numbers are increasing slowly, so we are hoping whenever actual results will come, you will see definitely significant.
What is your internal assessment?
No, we have not done any assessment, and we do not make any claims. But we definitely say that whatever change is whatever change we see in the Bihar, that is only because of us. Bihar is talking on the lines of development. Bihar is talking on the lines of agenda, and that's what we have given to the Bihar.
Absolutely. So all parties here waiting with bated breath, Anand.
Well, thanks for that. And when you say hum, I am reminded of Bachchan Saab and hum and ek dusre se karte hai pyar hum. That's what the NDA seems to be saying to each other this time around, contrary to 2020 viewers. And aap humse pyar karte hain. Continue to watch, continue to stay with us, not just on TV, and also you can watch us on YouTube.
Currently leading in, I think, 50,000 views, more than 50,000 views.
Namaste, thank you. See this, ek dusre se karte hai pyar hum has been established. Thank you so much. And on Connected TV also, continue to stay with us, please. Let's go across to the live result hub. Griya is joining us with more details. 203 leads, and of which 132 for the NDA. So they are slowly inching up. Yes.
As you've come to me, Anand, there is the first call that has died right now come in from Bhojpur district.
Bhojpur mein? Shahpur.
From Shahpur, and we have a lead, BJP lead, Rakesh Ranjan is leading from there.
Rahul Tiwari, RJD.
So overall,
okay, Rahul Tiwari, RJD, the tables have turned now.
Overall in Bhojpur, it seems neck and neck. It's 17 to the NDA, 16 to the India Alliance. RJD is doing reasonably okay. Now the India Alliance has gone up to 17. So RJD is doing okay in Bhojpur. The problem for the RJD was last time around they won a lot of seats here in the Magad belt. That doesn't seem to be converting. And here, of course, in the Bhagalpur belt, which traditionally has been Nitish Kumar's stronghold, the party that's doing well across regions, seats alone. If you look at just it's 55 and they are up 12 from last time. They had 43 last time. The BJP had 74. They're down 14, but then they're also fighting 14 seats less. But look at this. The JDU doing well in the eastern part of the state. It's doing well in the northern part of the state, the Mithila belt as it were, and also up north in the Champaran side. So they're getting across regions. When a party starts doing well across regions, then you know it's pulling its weight. As far as the RJD is concerned, the RJD last time around just pulling up the RJD seats. It is pulling the bulk of the weight as far as this alliance is concerned. 45 seats where the RJD is leading, Congress only in 11. But look at the geographical pattern. There's a cluster here. There are few odd seats here in Simanchal, but in the rest, in the central part of the state, I hardly see any RJD. Here in the south, again, I don't see any RJD. Here, if you go back to the 2020 map, there was a lot of RJD and CPI-ML in this part of the state, which is south of Magad. But I don't see that.
With your permission, I'm just going to walk across here. कलस चल रहा है मुझे बताइए ये तब से आपके बीच में गुफ्तगू चल रही है what is it that you are discussing and there is some slicing dicing and all going on what were you doing
मिठाई का flavor कौन सा
Those rasgullas we saw at somebody's house.
yeah that was
Gulab jamun.
now this is deflection viewers they are deflecting they are talking something else
we were actually talking about development I mean in this case it was just a little bit about Bombay but I think it's about the theme of the center and the states working together and improving things that haven't been done for years.
Okay.
So whether it was Maharashtra, whether it's UP, and I think increasingly you talked about the airports, etc. in Bihar.
Yeah.
I think the same story is going to continue. Bihar has.
So you hazard a guess. Yeah, I think they were talking about whether they're going to be Devendra in Bihar or not, or there will be Eknath Shinde's continuation.
no, so that conversation of talking totally diametrically opposites was Tejashwi and Rahul Gandhi, sir. One was talking unemployment, the other one was talking vote chori. But you are saying you disagree with Sohail Sheikh?
Yeah, because I think there is a, see Bihar has...
kursi ka उनकी कुर्सी आ गई भाई कुर्सी लाओ
लड़ाई तो the whole fight is
आपकी कुर्सी आ गई
Politics on a TV channel is far more dire than in actual politics.
ये बोल रहे हैं कि मेरी कुर्सी भाई आप कुर्सी खाली छोड़ के जाएंगे या तो कुर्सी ले जाएगा या कोई वहाँ बैठ जाएगा
आपका बैग नहीं गया वैसे
but they are all disagreeing with on the infrastructure bit with Sohail Sheikh.
Very simple thing. Bihar has particular constraints. For instance, there isn't enough non-agricultural land to be used with industries. So we need a slightly different model in Bihar for development. That will come through the connectivity that's happening. So it's easy to say, it's jobless growth, etc. It doesn't happen in a day. You start having connectivity, you start having highways, you start improving people's quality of life in terms of healthcare. And eventually people will come back and start to do things on their own because the safety net of having to live in Bihar and being able to have a decent existence will give them an incentive.
But Sohail did not make a point about industry.
On the video
let's open him up here and then we can all talk to Sohail also. But Sohail ji did not talk. Sohail Sheikh did not talk about industry. What he said is IAS officers and healthcare, doctors. More doctors from Bihar he has made a point in the past. But why those doctors are not in Bihar? And why is there poor healthcare in Bihar? That is not.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. I couldn't get the name of the gentleman who was
Saket Mishra.
Saket, thank you. See, the point is, A, I'm not looking for agreement. B, it's an opinion which is based on how industry warms up to states. Today, states are actually marketing. As we speak, the unveiling of the CII summit is going to happen in Visakhapatnam. Who's doing it? Chandrababu Naidu. Nitish Kumar started off early in a very dramatic and positive manner. If you recall, Anand and Zaka, you will remember that Nandu Singh, NK Singh, was appointed as the chief economic advisor for the state. I will only give you one real life instance to counter what Saket was saying. We all went to Patna and there's a hospital there called the Guru Tegh Bahadur Hospital. It's government run. It was in a pitiable state, still is, by the way. I'm talking about 20 years ago. And there was an offer made to do a public-private partnership. And who objected to it? The government bureaucrats, because obviously they were going to make money of the hospitals as they always do. It is not right for anyone, including Saket or me, to say this had happened, that is. My issue is as follows. A, you don't need highways to attract people. You need safety, you need law and order, and you need a willingness for industry. Now hear me out. Services businesses don't require highways when I last checked. Let's not even go there. Today, Bihar is portrayed in a negative way on Jamtara. You think the average Bihari youth is not bright enough? He's far sharper than most of us imagine.
Right.
There is no services business. There is no services in Bihar to the extent it could have had. Number two, healthcare is not there to the extent it could have had. My point is, for 20 years, now if you tell me you've built one highway and one, a road and 3 projects, damn good. You shouldn't be given a gold medal for that. Who's spending? Government.
Sohelji, okay. Yes, Nalin has a point. Yeah, Nalin.
So Bihar has grown at a CAGR of about 11% over the last decade, which is the 9th fastest, on par with UP, but below Madhya Pradesh and below, of course, the richer states of Andhra, Gujarat, Karnataka.
But from a low base.
So much lower base, of course. So the point I'm going to make is now, it's real, in real terms, growth is 6.4%, but if you look at the per capita income, I'm coming to what Sohel was saying, Bihar per capita income is 33,966 rupees a year. UP is almost double at 51,898, and even Jharkhand, which broke out of Bihar, is almost double of Bihar at 64,347, right, per capita. So that is the nature of the
जनार्दन है if they think that अच्छे the fact that whoever gets the mandate today, let's say as of now it looks like the NDA who are nearing 140, whoever gets the mandate today, the next 5 years they have to show far greater amount of खुशी से मंदिर जाते हैं जो तेरी बात पे एतबार होता है. हाँ देखिए अगर नीतीश बाबू को नहीं चुनते तो बिहार में अब भी जंगल राज होता.
I have also maintained in previous programs, I think it's also the failure of the anti-incumbent, the opposition, that they have not made this the number one issue. If today jobs was the number one issue, we wouldn't be looking at
Absolutely.
Opportunities was the but somebody decided they wanted to do hashtag SIR. Somebody still wants to do hashtag vote chori, not job. Yes, Sandeep ji, and then
we need to contextualize the whole question of where Bihar. Let's remember where Bihar was 20 years back when Nitish came, and where Bihar is now. So, if we were to compare Bihar with other states in a present situation, I don't think we are being fair to the state.
One comment.
I think like historically, yes, Bihar.
So, you are on mute one second.
Historically, Bihar has problems. Yes, Nitish Kumar didn't deliver what he was expected to deliver in last 10 years. He did really well from 2005 to say 12 or 13. But from 13 onwards, this man was also fighting a political battle. Right, between 13 and 25, he has been changing party because it was also a question of his political survival. Now, if Nitish Kumar today comes as like a number 1 or number 2 party, we hope that in twilight, if he is getting a grand welcome from the voter, he also gives something grand to the state. And so let's hope for
what all pollsters predicted, around 140 mark, that's where the NDA's leads are. We'll come back to this conversation after quick check on the numbers.
Currently the BJP at 60, it's down 14, remember, but it's fighting 14 seats less. It fought 115 last time, 101 this time around. The JDU neck and neck at 59. The JDU, to my mind, is the big victor of this election if these leads hold, because they're already up 16 from last time, so they will be pushing closer to 65. The LJP is also a big winner. Out of the 29 seats that they fought, they're already leading in. They had none last time around. The RLM and the Hum party, the smaller parties, have 9 seats between them. So the smaller parties are also pulling their weight in the NDA alliance. As far as the India alliance is concerned, it is all the way the RJD, even though the RJD is down 30 seats from last time. The RJD was the single largest party last time around with 75 seats. It's down 30 seats. The Congress is down 7. Congress contested 70 last time, won 19. Right now contesting 61, leading only in 12. So the Congress's strike rate is further less than what it was last time around. The CPML has 6, VIP down to just 8. So the smaller parties are also not pulling their weight in the India alliance. It's the RJD that's doing the bulk of the heavy lifting, and that's not good enough to compete with the NDA.
The RJD is also minus. The RJD is also minus, and interestingly, the way Chirag Paswan is pulling, out of 29, if he is leading in 11, and if he settles somewhere around 15, does he make up a strong candidate for a deputy chief minister? And then, is there a possibility that the future leadership in Bihar could move to perhaps younger shoulders?
Younger shoulders, and also he will, I think, then get a confidence to do what they've been talking about before the election, is to turn him into a Bahujan leader rather than just the leader of the Paswan community.
Bahujan leader.
Yes.
And then does Nitish also then get to call who his successor legacy will be within the JDU? Because JDU now becomes very strong.
Yes, I have a data point. Assuming that there will not be a prominent BJP leader in the government.
No, the second deputy CM. I'm not saying the first one. The first one will be a BJP guy,
right,
BJP person.
BJP deputy CM.
Two BJP deputy CMs. Now will be there will be one deputy CM from the BJP and one from the other.
That in the psephology of these seats of JDU and BJP, the JDU right now is retaining about 24 odd seats, but it's gaining in 20 seats. 25, 26 are gains.
Yeah.
So with BJP, the retention is around 40, 42, but the gains are about 15. So in terms of the JDU is actually really
gaining more than.
Interestingly, RJD is also gaining certain seats.
Yeah,
RJD is gaining about 25, 26, it retaining 30, 30.
But overall, because they had 75 and they were the single largest last time, they're down 30 this time. But they're neck and neck, BJP and JDU. And I suspect, if these trends hold, I suspect that the JDU might actually end up as the single largest because of this. The gains that the JDU are substantially higher than any party in the field. Forget about just the NDA partners, but any party in the field has not got 16 gains. So a large number of these gains could potentially be those RJD seats. RJD is down 30 from last time. Those RJD seats which they won against JDU candidates because of the Paswan factor. Paswan again leading in 10 seats right now. We'll see where he ends up. But neck and neck right now between the BJP and the JDU. And I think it will be clear that not only will Nitish Kumar be the chief minister, I think he will also decide the future course of his exit, what the future of his party is going to be, etc., etc. To that extent, the weight of the BJP within the alliance might actually come down.
Just on an aside, so if you're listening to our viewers, a viewer has said, Sir, Jamtara Bihar mein nahi hai, Jharkhand mein hai. Jharkhand mein hai. So the Jamtara, when you do that, and so was Jamshedpur in Bihar at one point in time when I went to school there, ab wo Jharkhand mein hai. Ji, yes.
No, what I actually did point out at that time, but I didn't want to say it out loud, but I'm glad that the reader did, because this is a sore point with all Jharkhandis, you know, because despite the fact that they're a separate state now, they're always kind of clubbed with Bihar. Coming to the JDU,
will be happy to pass off
coming to the JDU, I've been deeply in touch with their backroom for a while now. As I said, they lost 32 seats because of LJP in the last election. They said we want to recover at least 15. If we recover 15, then we are home and dry, and we'll be happy to have that. They were very, very silent when it came to Chirag Paswan. They didn't say anything to piss him off or, you know, flare up any kind of a conflict. Although Nitish Kumar was said to be quite upset that he had got 29 seats, but they kept a lid on it. And all these pre-election NDA meetings, they were pretty serious about it, and I think they did well in terms of ticket distribution.
No, and I think Chirag Paswan quietly has also made amends with Nitish Kumar. He's also quietly behind the scenes gone ahead.
He said that this is the first election he is contesting assembly election as part of the NDA. This is the first time. And this bad blood that is between the JDU and the LJP, he said, my first thing would be to quieten it down. We want to post a good performance within the alliance.
And you will see if the results stay, and if these results hold, and if they consolidate further in the NDA, you will also see Chirag Paswan going ahead, perhaps touching Nitish Kumar's feet, and then that entire arrangement coming together.
I just want to make an announcement. One second. So if you're watching us on YouTube, CNN News 18 currently is at 83,000 concurrents. So 83,000 people are watching CNN News 18 right now. The number 2 channel, less than half of them are watching. So thank you very much, viewers, for watching us on YouTube, on Connected TV. There you go. That's the
numbers. Those are the numbers, undeniable. Like we are saying, we're putting it all on the screen. It's not just numbers.
Best data so far.
Yeah, that's the best data. That's the best data. अरे सर नीचे का data भी तो best data है, authentic है, real data है. But this is the happy
right
data.
now, people are watching.
थोड़ा आइए भाई पास आओ, जरा दिखाओ हमारे viewers who are watching us on YouTube. We're going to thank them specifically. Let's try, and that's the green number. So big round of applause to our viewers for backing us and watching us here at CNN News 18. This result is live. Let the trends continue. Both on YouTube and on the screen. That's what.
I think Zaka, last time BJP had 0, so 110 seats, and JDU had contested 115 seats.
So there were 5 candidates, BJP, but they were independent candidates. So it was 115, 115. Okay. There were 5 seats.
5 seats, independent candidates on the BJP symbol. So 115, this time but they are increasing their strike rate. You look at the fact that they, rather than contesting more seats, they are contesting less, upping their strike rate. So individual number of seats conversion is going up, and the allies are also happy. The local allies are happy in LJP. Ham was a little upset, but their strike rate is good
both
too.
at 62, but the JDU has gains of 19 and the BJP losses of 12. One part is, like I said, because they are fighting less
Anand,
seats.
if you look at,
but
Zaka, if you look at the
146 now, sir. 146.
If you look at the India Alliance story, of course they are failing and faltering, but all constituents are actually, constant. It is not that the Congress is, dipping, even the RJD is not doing well, and some of the smaller allies are doing very badly, that IP Gupta party and that other VIP, and the Congress performance is not that bad in that proportion.
Sir.
yes, down to 14 out of 16.
Because
they had 19 last time, they are leading only in 14. They're down to 5.
when you look at RJD,
every India constituent is going down.
that is what I'm saying. So the alliance is failing.
That is because, sir, the team loses if you don't play cohesively.
Team loses because
Sir, one says let's go for a run, the other one says no, I'm going to stand here, going to go for a boundary.
The story is clearly a story of alliance chemistry.
Alliance
Chemistry in the NDA alliance was very visibly there.
Yeah.
Whereas in the opposition alliance, the numbers clearly indicate that there was no gelling between
Trust
the
factor on Nitish, alliance chemistry, two pearls coming from Sandeep. We are Priyam Gandhi Badi.
No, about the Congress story, it's a bad number. It's like saying that it's still justifying like that's...
No, but you should give the book to Tejashwi Yadav and ask him what if there was no Congress in your alliance.
Exactly, that would be a whole different story.
You should actually give your book to Tejashwi Yadav and say what if there was no Congress in your alliance.
I think there is a fundamental issue with the opposition alliance, which is that all these guys have traditionally opposed the Congress. Fundamentally, for the Congress, and whether it is Samajwadi Party or it's RJD, it's an existential issue. If Tejashwi wins, it pretty much destroys the Congress going forward. And therefore, how can you have a coherent...
18 seats not yet out, but the NDA is nearing 150 number. So 160 looks possible at this point with respect to leads. Look at the bottom of the screen, 149, 64 to the BJP, 64 to the JDU, both of them batting strongly for that alliance, and they should hit the 150 number. We'll have a few key race alerts also, but first to the live result. Griya has got some updates. Yes.
Okay, one update that we are getting for you, Anand, is coming in from Patna Sahab. Congress candidate Shashank Shekhar is leading, but I would like to get in an update on the rounds of counting like we have been looking at as far as EVMs is concerned. So first up, we are getting a lowdown on Bharatiya Janata Party, the number of constituencies that the BJP is leading on, and right now the details that we are getting in is that the first round of counting is currently on, except in Rajnagar, where the second round has started, and also in Aura, where the third round of counting has begun. So far, round one is what's going on, but in one or two constituencies is where we are seeing the second and third round of EVM counting that has begun. Same is true if we take a look at the number of constituencies where the RJD is leading. So far, there is round one that's going on, except in Danapur and in Baniapur, where the second round of EVM counting has begun, and all of these constituencies is where RJD is leading. So this is what is the latest that's coming in as far as the rounds.
So the RJD candidate is leading in Mahua, and Tej Pratap is trailing. That's the key race alert. Tejashwi Yadav is actually leading in Raghopur. Congress party leading in 17 out of 61 contested. Better strike rate as of now in terms of leads compared to the 19 out of 70 that they eventually totaled in 2020. So the Congress would say, "Yaar, पिछली बार से better किया."
Being brought back to life. And you wanted to make a point.
I want to make the point we are making for 2 days now. 2 points actually. One, we are seeing a replication of the Lok Sabha result of 2024. In the Lok Sabha, the JDU had 72 seats, the BJP had 68 seats. And when you extrapolate the Lok Sabha to 70 constituents, this result is pretty much looking like that, and that's also because the point that Professor Shastri was making, that because of the alliance chemistry, the same alliance fought exactly the same way in the Lok Sabha, unlike in 2020, when the LJP was cutting the votes. I'm also looking at the vote share numbers from the Election Commission. The BJP is at 26.2% at the moment. RJD is 24.13 and JDU is 15.15. That only further underscores the point about alliance with the vote. It's a disparity concentrated in certain pockets.
In certain pockets, and point is that the BJP may still remain the single largest party with the JDU not so far behind, but it's actually propped up and pulled up the JDU. Have they really mastered their strategy? Because you said alliance chemistry, somebody said let's credit Amit Shah for what this is happening. So I said we should credit Amit Shah for brilliant poll management, but also did they get it right? Did they understand the sentiment on ground right, that you cannot nail Nitish and to the ground and try and win this election because it's not going to happen? Is the BJP now realizing the importance of the regional allies in certain states, especially where it's playing second fiddle?
No, absolutely it is, and the decision to go with and to align again Nitish Kumar why was important, and the result
152 leads, Anand, 232, 152.
26% vote share for BJP at the moment. If this number holds, that's a 6% bump from the Lok Sabha election, and compared to the last election. So it's actually showing that BJP as a party is growing in this election, just as JDU is growing.
Yeah, I think, is this the new recalibrated strategy that rather than grow at the cost of the other, let everybody grow and we'll grow a little more along with that?
So I think in Bihar it is a function of the fact that there was no alternative for the BJP. BJP doesn't have a local leader, and the caste matrix is such that the JDU, BJP is caste. So you have to
always stuck between the politics of social justice and Hindutva. Unlike in UP, Hindutva does not have a statewide appeal and a largish base where you can hit the critical mass of forming the government on your own. So it's always been a situation where the BJP needs the help of one of these old socialist Mandalwala parties, and Nitish has always been the steady ally
what happens
since
after that?
95.
Nisula, what happens after Nitish? I mean, you've been saying that this is possibly his last election. What happens? Does Bihar also mirror UP then?
No, I don't think so. I think there will be some sort of a recalibration of that old kind of a politics in a new way, which Nitish did. Which is when he created from the larger Mandal block, he created his own.
As per election में the NDA has more than 50% vote share. फिर तो election भाग जाएगा सर, एक तरफ भागेगा.
वो तो एक तरफ भागेगा. But I think it will depend on what will happen to Bihar politics, the kind of decisions BJP is going to make. If BJP makes a Jharkhand-like decision, they will pay the price of that decision in next election also.
Which is what?
You got a non-tribal chief.
I think with this result, it's very clear that Nitish will be CM.
Kind of decision, right? It will see. BJP tried 2 deputy CMs last time, 2 deputy CMs this time. None of them have been able to emerge as sort of like
नहीं कर पाएंगे sir, and in Bihar it's, I think somewhere it is very simple. You have to defer to Nitish and you have to allow Nitish to announce his legatee. Nitish Kumar has to announce his legatee, whether he announces the legatee from JDU, from BJP or anywhere, and for all you know he will announce somebody from the JDU, and somebody is being groomed, quietly being groomed to take over.
I don't think he's going to announce a legatee. I have a feeling he's going to be like Jayalalitha. Say that look, people will push forward a leader because he himself.
They still haven't solved that problem.
What he basically, I think, did in 90 along with George Fernandez and breaking away from the Janata Dal led by Lalu Prasad Yadav at that time, which became the RJD, was to do a Mandal 2.0, which is the salami slicing of the larger OBC bloc. Then he added the women's vote. Now you will have the part 2 of that situation where somebody will have to come and conceptualize a new sort of a social coalition. I don't think that Hindutva even now will be able to win BJP the election in Bihar.
If I may request, let's not talk about post-Nitish Bihar as of now. Let him...
No. We wish him great health. We wish him great health. We wish him a successful 5-year term as Chief Minister, and also underline the fact कि भाई टाइगर अभी जिंदा है, पूरा शहर में अभी भी बहुत होता है.
Neither Prakash Singh Badal vacated the seat, nor M.K. Stalin vacated.
But I'm just saying, but I feel that the intelligent and the engineer in Nitish, and also a certain level of political astuteness, he will at a point in time know that party को चलाना है तो उत्तराधिकारी करना पड़ेगा.
Anand, I think if you look at the numbers and the direction the NDA is going, not only is it alliance chemistry, it is also the caste calculus which has worked in their favor. The point which was earlier made, the NDA alliance of the BJP and the JDU brings in the OBC and you bring in the group that JDU is able to. Also a caste calculus which they have brought in.
Yeah, but if it is the Mahila factor that has actually given the NDA the kind of mandate that the leaderboard currently is reflecting, will the political discourse of Bihar itself change? Priyanka Gandhi Modi and the others.
If we were talking about what happens now, if these numbers hold and these guys win, you know, what happens now? So especially if the Mahila factor is working, etc., you know, what happens after Nitish? So we've seen this in Maharashtra that you grow together. There was a belief at one time in Maharashtra that you cannot win without regional parties. You know, we have, you know, the BJP has almost gotten to a point where it is going to be able to win perhaps without a regional party in the next.
I'll tell you one thing. The BJP does not have a place in Bihar who can actually motivate and mobilize the party and cadre out only for that party. BJP does not have it.
In Maharashtra, BJP, look, in Maharashtra, BJP went on shopping and they shopped very well.
shopping
while comparisons are important, it's important to also understand the political context of the state. Bihar is not like the other states of the country, and the type of alliance the BJP has built up in Bihar is very distinct, and the fact that they had to retain Nitish as part of their alliance indicates the importance of the regional parties for the BJP in Bihar.
And also where Nitish also realized that he can survive and he can prosper only with the NDA and with the BJP.
If the BJP emerges as the single largest party in the NDA, I don't think that would imply any chief minister change. You will still have
Nitish will be the chief minister. It is just is there a post Nitish era in the horizon, and should all parties prepare for that in Bihar, especially within the NDA? That's one question. What they will do in the next 5 years under Nitish Kumar, if these results hold, we'll have to see. Now the lead has slipped down under 150, it's 149.
I think there is one other change that will happen in the next 5 years. If you looked at Hindutva, it was supposedly worked pretty well as an umbrella strategy. I think in Bihar, we have what Professor Shastri said, they've got the caste equations right. But if the BJP and the NDA, I would say overall, is smart, they will shift the narrative to development. Now, it's not the development of Maharashtra, but it's a development of something that is unique to Bihar. Any discussion of post-Nitish, frankly, doesn't really make sense because he's going to be there.
So, next 5 years, they're going to plan what they're going to do. Just another 6 seats to go, of which the leads have not yet come. They have not yet been plotted, viewers. And the NDA has crossed the 150 number again, 152 leads. If those 6 seats come, will this further go inch towards the 160 mark? That's the target that was set by the NDA for themselves. Yes, Nalan and then Rahul.
So, you know, one of the reasons why Bihar is different, and the point that Professor Shastri was making about the alliance politics, Bihar is unlike UP. So, for example, Bihar has about 10% more forward caste than UP. Bihar has about 4.5% more Yadavs than UP. The 17-18% Muslims roughly, those get in UP they get divided up, but in Bihar they go either to Congress or RJD. And most importantly, UP has BSP, which gets about 10%, 12% of the vote, which is not there in Bihar. Which is why alliance matrix in Bihar becomes specifically very, very important. And the BJP's sort of vote base is a very nice complementarity with JDU's vote base. They both need each other significantly.
And it's transferability of votes, which is perhaps not happening in other places.
See, I think Bihar is distinct in the Hindi heartland. Bihar is the only state where BJP never had a CM. In all other Hindi heartland states, BJP had a CM. Second, Bihar politics has always been delivering a coalition government, whereas UP and other states have started delivering single party majority. And the reason that's happening, BJP in Haryana or most states where it entered after 2014, what was the strategy? Basically create a wedge between the OBC caste and a Dalit caste. In Bihar, Nitish Kumar had already done that. He had done the Yadav minus EBC mobilization. He had done the Paswan minus Mahadalit mobilization. So in that sense, it leaves very little space for the BJP. Kumar.
Right, Sohel Seth is also there. Just a quick word. Sohelji, you've been listening. Your thoughts?
My worry is not about Nitish Kumar at all. And by the way, no leader, no politician leaves power on their own volition. Either God calls them or the population calls them back from their offices. My concern here is about the future of the Congress. And since he's there, and he's one person who knows the Congress better than perhaps most people do, my worry is how long will the Congress continue its massive decline because of this intellectual giant they have leading them? Because what is happening is you're destroying a great alternative. I'm not bothered about whether it's Gandhi or Modi or whoever it is. In a democracy, whether you like it or not, Congress is the only other pan-national party. And for the Congress to be consistent both in its decline and that is worrisome. So Rashid, since Rashid guides Rahul Gandhi on a daily basis and is the closest advisor to Priyanka, let Rashid wait. What is he?
Wait, there's no room, by the way. Swapan Das Gupta is getting mic'd up. Rashid, please come back and come to me. Come here. Rashid, come here. This is all live, that's all right, no problem. Our viewers are understanding what we're doing. That question was to you, so you have to answer. So I'll give you have to use my mic. Come. हम शेयर कर लेंगे उसमें क्या?
Mr. Sohail said as he's my friend, he always exaggerates. He knows that nobody can advise, Gandhi's, particularly Rahul and Priyanka. Like you, I'm an independent observer, and we do comment and make a livelihood out of it. But capacity to advise.
Who has written more books on the Gandhis, which even the Gandhis can't read?
I've written on Simias also, so I mean, I don't advise them.
About people
You see, the Gandhis need to sort of reinvent and look at. They think that it is their, duty to take.
It's called entitlement. It's a simple word, entitlement.
नहीं वो बोल रहे हैं कि कांग्रेस का क्या होगा, ये लीडरशिप कब चेंज होगी?
Well, I would say the corpse is still alive and kicking, so it will continue.
Anand, there's an old saying in a particular play. It says, "Operation successful, patient dead." That is the surgical prowess of the Congress party.
I think the test of Congress will come in the next round of assembly elections when it will be a direct contender. Particularly
you said that 10, 11 years ago also. कि उनका टाइम आएगा
11 years ago they won in Kerala.
Now see, by that logic they also won 2 MLA seats in UP. Now Rashid, if you have to defend them, don't defend them itna.
No, thank you Rashid ji, you're going to get some grub. We've got Swapan Das Gupta ji is also. Welcome sir, welcome, thank you very much. आइए, कुर्सी आपके लिए वेकेट कर दी गई, देखिए आपके लिए कुर्सी तैयार है. Yes, Zaka.
So just quick check on the map. So it's 150 par as it was for the NDA. Just a breakup of the alliance partners. The BJP at 68, the JDU at 68. I keep looking at the gains. For the JDU, it's a 25-seat gain from 2020. BJP is down 6, but remember, the BJP is fighting 14 seats less this time. The LJP, I think this is a pretty good record. Out of 29 seats that he's fighting, he's leading in 14, the Ham Party in 4 and the RLM in 2. But really, I think the story of the NDA alliance is the revival of the JDU. And if you look at the map, it's across, the light green of the JDU is across different regions, whether it's in Bhojpur, whether it is in Magad, whether it is in the Bhagalpur belt, or even in Mithilanchal. They seem to be doing across regions, and when a party does well across regions, pulling its weight. So it's neck and neck between the JDU and the BJP as far as the NDA alliance is concerned. India alliance, on the other hand, it's a different story. The only color you see largely is purple, which is the RJD. But even the RJD is 20 seats down from last time. Last time the RJD had 75. They're down to 52. The Congress had 19 last time. They're down to 17. Again, the left parties, between all of them, CPML, CPI, CPM, they had 15 last time. They're down to 7 seats.
See, the leads have been at 238 for a while now, but the NDA seat count has been going up. It went up from 152 to 157. That means increasingly, as we are plotting Bihar live for our viewers, as the results are coming in, the leads are coming in, viewers. The NDA is pulling more seats away from the INDIA. Swapanji, welcome. Please, your thoughts. My apologies, you are Swapan and Swapan Das Gupta. I end up saying Swapan Das. My apologies. पहले ही माफी मांग लेता हूँ. Swapan जी बताइए.
Well, thanks for getting the ethnic things right. But I think what's very clear is that this is quite an emphatic mandate. What at least it appears to be at present. And secondly, that the pool machinery which he has set up, which is based not on might or muscle power, it's based really on certain arithmetic, juggling of arithmetic, class politics at times, other factors, whenever it suits them. That seems to have worked again in a very good way, just like it did in Delhi, where really it was the organization at the micro level which played the part, and in Haryana which too again. So it's that same pattern which is being repeated in Maharashtra, Haryana, Delhi,
160,
Bihar.
240 leads, 160 number. 160 was the target that was set by the NDA. 3 more leads that have yet to come, and they seem to be continuously moving in one way. Is this holds? Yeah. And we are getting into the third round of counting in a lot of the counting centers. First round of counting of EVMs is already done. 46 counting centers in all.
The trend start when a party or an alliance is ahead,
161 now.
As it closes, they tend to get the advantage.
together,
So I will
even
not be
more, that's
surprised
true.
if that goes even higher as we get to
So
the end.
now this is historic. This is a historic mandate. The last time just past the post, 2 or 3 past the post, वहाँ पे there was a lot of noise that you have doctored, engineered the last 10, 12 seats just to get post, etc. And this is settled beyond doubt. This is settled beyond. Now go back to my question in the morning. ये टोनवा ठीक नहीं लग रहा है. जी.
No, I'm going to go back to that development-led growth conversation, because I think now that for the voting pattern to change from like the caste politics to development-led performance-led voting, you know, I feel going back to again what Mr. Seth said, that infrastructure is very much required. I think that increases and changes aspirations of people, and I think that's where BJP kind of brings in its strong suit also in that double engine Sarkar performance, and I think that's the game changer here.
Look at it. Sorry, I'm interrupting. Just have a look at it. 52% vote share. See, this is the NDA's best ever. The NDA has never gotten above 43-44%, if my memory serves me right. 52%, more than half the percent vote share the NDA has pulled, because the cameos have also been fantastic. LJP, HAM have all added. JDU and and look at the INDIA, 37%
gap between the two. It's basically a 2-horse race. I mean, I don't think Jansuraj or any of the other 3rd or 4th players matter in this election. It's a 2-horse race, and if there's a 15% gap between the two alliances, then I think it's a runaway victory, and that's what we're seeing in the seats as well.
In my mind about Tejashwi Yadav. Right. Yes, he's done better than the Congress, but the question is, does he offer anything beyond what his father gave him? And I suspect the answer to that is no. He was novelty last time. He is no longer novelty. Clearly the people and politics is not about the perfection, finding perfection, but it's about the half loaf, right? So does he offer anything that the people credibly believe will take them to a different level? Now if he is not able to do that, my personal belief is that Tejashwi's vote share going forward is going to be tough to hold, because there will be other people nipping at his heels for that same MY base.
Same MY, but now the MY factor itself changes to Mahila and Yuva.
Correct, exactly.
We're going to quote Sandeep very aggressively, and I'm going to borrow him, because he said, one, who's got the trust factor? Yes, unemployment is an issue. Who does a Bihar voter trust will solve this issue for us? The second one is the alliance chemistry. Now this alliance chemistry is far more visible within the NDA than anybody else. We also to show you Rahul Shivshankar. Good morning. Yeah, you're walking on a good day and a good time.
Well, the EVMs are not having such a great time, unfortunately, because we've already got the Congress stepping in and saying that, look, when you delete a large number of voters, etc., there's going to be a problem. And of course,
you saw the vote share,
the
right?
EVM.
You saw the vote share. Now have a look at the YouTube numbers. We got to flaunt it a little, because when it swings one way, it swings one way. Just putting out these numbers as Rahul walks in. See, 1 lakh.
Good omen.
1,18,000 counter views. So from 83 to 1,18,000, 1,14,000. That's where the numbers are. Viewers, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
The numbers have been consistent through the
over 1,14,000 concurrent views. Please keep watching. Please keep staying on with us. Now we are also adding muscle. So Rahul Shivshankar also walks into this election.
Let me just make a couple of points here. I've been looking at some of the trends that have been coming through. A large number of preconceived notions are now collapsing. So you are seeing also in Simanchal, inroads that have been made into seats that were actually RJD and Congress bastions. That tells you that substantially there is also this huge talk about, you see, constant Muslim bastion, this, that, the other.
In Simachal
That's
last
what I'm
time
saying.
around. So Simachal, the JDU.
So where is the Muslim vote going?
So the polarization.
Is it the Muslim vote?
The polarization works both ways, right?
That's right. But
there's a reverse polarization that happens.
But Zaka, the turnouts in these seats in Simachal were much higher. 10, 12, 15% higher.
That's correct.
And then when you look at Bhojpur, have a look at Bhojpur. There are changes taking place in Bhojpur. There are changes taking place in Mithilanchal. So clearly, obviously, there is a coalition that is coming through and a positive message is being rewarded.
No, absolutely. Look, I've been saying this since morning. When the NDA and particularly the JDU is doing well across regions, then you know it's pulling its weight. It's going towards closer to perhaps even a two-thirds sort of a situation. And if this numbers hold, they might actually get to a two-thirds majority.
The BJP holding its own, is it becoming the default party of choice in Bihar, slowly and steadily? Is that what we're seeing?
So it's 75 to the JDU is now currently the higher party, the larger party in the alliance. The BJP is at 72, LJP at 14. So that's 29 seats that he's leading in currently. But the JDU, and I keep pointing, they had 43 last time.
This is a 50% strike rate.
It's a 50% strike rate.
Adding to the JDU turnout also, because remember, it really undercut the JDU in almost those many seats.
The JDU had 43 from last time.
I think, see, once you have like a alliance leading in of the seats and you have them 50% plus vote share, I think every sort of caste blocks, everything is going to be flattened. So I don't think that is going to be any different. I think what seems to be happening in favor of the NDA is basically a combination of everything working together. So it looks like
you're saying that the Yadav vote has stuck to the RJD. Is that what you're saying? I don't think that could be the outcome when you're beginning to lose.
All parties have serious social base. That's why they exist in society, right? So Yadav and Muslims will stick to RJD, but at 50% vote share, there will be a chipping away of some Yadav votes also towards NDA, right? So 80% Yadav, but when population is crossing 50% mark, then it's basically going to be gained across segments.
You know the incremental vote which the BJP has got, and I think here BJP, I mean the NDA has got, I think we must really take into account what the SIR has done, because by eliminating at least the dead voters, you know, you might think, but having fought elections, I can tell you how important that is, because whoever has the might in the locality ensures that the dead come alive on election day.
Especially in West Bengal.
West Bengal is of course a classic example of that, but Bihar, you see, Bihar has moved away from violence to quiet manipulation. And here, I don't think that has been eliminated entirely, but at least what has happened is that here, there has been a far more level playing field which has been in existence. And that has resulted...
Mr. Das Gupta, at least a 5%, if you discount,
I would
discount the SIR, there's at least a 5% jump in turnout, which is clearly
which has moved in favor of the BJP.
So this coalition has been better at effectively mobilizing its own voters. That's something that we can say, and is that on the back of a positive?
That's what I'm saying. That's the pattern from Delhi, Haryana, Maharashtra. This has been the pattern. You mobilize every available supporter to turn out.
BJP state chief's first reactions coming through. Let's listen in.
BJP state president is with us. दिलीप जी, जो रुझान है, इनिशियल रुझान वो आपके फेवर में लग रहे हैं, कैसे देखते हैं?
नहीं, वो तो जनता ने मन बना लिया था। जनता ने मन बना लिया था कि फिर एक बार एनडीए की सरकार बनानी है, और ये आज नहीं, आज करीब एक महीने से अंदाज लग रहा था कि जनता एक तरफा जो है, जो हमने विकास के काम किए हैं, जो कानून का राज दिया है, उस पर जनता विश्वास कर रही है।
बिहार में आप घूमे हैं, क्या ऐसे मुद्दे आपको लगे 3-4 जो लोगों को बिल्कुल लगे हैं और जिस पर उन्होंने वोट किया है?
कानून का राज, दूसरा नीतीश कुमार जी ने विकास का काम जो किया है, और तीसरा नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने जिस तरह से केंद्र डबल इंजन की सरकार में केंद्र का मदद बिहार को दिया है, बिहार के जनता ने मोदी जी के गारंटी पर भरोसा।
अलायंस की जो परफॉर्मेंस है उसे कैसे देखते हैं आप?
हमें जाना है भाई।
BJP chief. Of course, it is a big credit to him and his team that they managed this. But look at the map of Bihar. It's either green or it's saffron all the way. It's the JDU and the BJP, the NDA alliance, which is sweeping this election. 166 is 2/3 majority for something that we haven't seen in the last many elections, but therein also there is a story where it is the JDU which is emerging as the senior partner in that sense. 75 to the JDU and
look
72
at the east of the state, Nalin. Look at the east of the state.
So absolutely, Rahul Zaka. So when you look at the region-wise map of Bihar, barring Bhojpur, in every single region of Bihar, Bhagalpur, Magad, Mithila, Simanchal, Tirut, you were saying the eastern state, it's a sweep for the NDA. Only in Bhojpur they're necking, but even there they're leading. There are about 7-8 seats.
Look, I've also been told that there are about 60 seats where the leads are very narrow.
That's
so
true.
there's
But when I'm looking at the vote share data at the moment,
but the
vote share data at the moment is around 24-25%. If that holds, it's about 4% more than look what they had in Lok Sabha.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And that's why I'm asking, are more voters that were traditional voters, Mr. Shastri, traditional voters of the MGB, actually now moving away? Is there a greater coalition forming at the social level? That's a fun, and I think we'll have a look at those filters. But yes,
the NDA is leading now in 168 seats. Obviously, there are several factors which have come in to allow that to happen. And yes, I think the social calculus in Bihar is changing. The MY vote may have gone to the JDU, but I'm sure a chunk of it has moved to the NDA also. And the NDA has built a social coalition of all groups, upper caste, backward caste, most backward castes have moved with them, and that has contributed to these numbers which we are seeing.
So we're looking at the M factor, the Mahila factor. These are 124 seats where the women have outvoted the men by 10% or more. There, in the 124 seats, 95 of those seats are going to the NDA, only 26 to the India Alliance. That's a 3/4 to, kind of a situation,
And most of these are second
voting
phase
blocks that have been added to the
these are all
NDA.
second phase polling, that's correct. These are all second phase
So
polling.
I'd be interested to find out what's really happening in the Yadav dominated seats. Any ideas, Nalin, from your data, what's happening in that filter? Because these are seats where
I'll just look at
I think this election has perhaps been won and lost, to be honest.
So the sense that I have is that the Yadav vote has stayed with the RJD. It's just that unlike Akhilesh Yadav in UP, Rahul, Tejashwi Yadav over here not built a broader social coalition. So he's remained stuck with Yadavs and
In fact, the
Muslims.
JDU
And he's remained
cut down
stuck
the
at his
number of Yadav seats that
these
it
are the
had given.
Tejashwi
Yes.
Yatra seats. They are not necessarily Yadav dominated seats, but again in the Tejashwi Yatra seats, remember he went on a separate Yatra after Rahul Gandhi, after that whole vote Adhikar Yatra. He went on a separate one after that. Even in those seats, it's the NDA which has substantial number of 46 to 20, and there look at the JDU. The JDU is 30 and the BJP only 12. So traditional JDU seats where RJD was hoping to make inroads, expand the caste coalition, Tejashwi Yadav has not been able to do that.
Rahul, the vote share data is showing us that RJD currently is at 22.94%, which by the way was the exact percentage it had in the Lok Sabha election and about a little bit less than what it had in 2020. What that's telling us is that while it's retaining that vote percentage, its seat share getting stuck. It's telling us that its support base has remained stuck with only score constituencies of Yadavs and Muslims. They have not been able to attract other castes or other social groups.
I think they are losing some Yadav votes. Simple arithmetic. Last time they had 38% vote. Add VIP to it, it's around 39-40. This time if they are around 35% vote share, it means that the India coalition has lost 5% vote. And that's much more likely to come from Yadav than Muslims.
That's right. And the point that I was trying to make earlier was that there is a definite movement towards perhaps a positive message. I don't think Rahul Gandhi's message of an SIR being the, malfeasant, this thing of the election commission has worked. I don't think it has worked at all.
The number of votes for women actually were cut under the SIR, and they have outvoted the men in this election. So how do you explain
Yes,
that?
both of you,
And where they are losing the Yadav votes, I do think that we'll come back to what we started off in the morning, that Mahila cuts across caste lines, right? So a lot of that has moved towards the NDA, that's one. And second, it is also about credibility. Of course, Tejaswi's newness has gone, but in terms of credibility also, when he's offering jobs, because that was a big factor when we started off in the morning, are people buying the job narrative? But the problem here is that where are they coming from? Where are the jobs going to come from? People saw what happened in Karnataka and the trust simply did not build.
If there is a 5% drop of the India Alliance vote, it could also be the non-Yadav OBC which partly was with the India Alliance has moved.
But I think what Rahul Verma is saying is that there is a traditional vote base.
Dropping 2-3%. Other parties are
RJD is holding its vote.
RJD I think is holding its vote.
Okay. Rahul, I want to make a quick point. On the SIR impact, two things. Our reporters told us on the ground that it was not resonating on the ground. Rahul Gandhi is campaigning. When you look at the seats affected by SIR in particular, NDA sweeping those seats, 76 to NDA versus India Alliance 28 seats. So about 108.
Let me just quickly go across to Pallavi. She has the first reaction coming out of the RJD, I believe. Pallavi.
That's right. I've got Mr. Mrityunjay Tiwari with us at this point of time. सबसे पहले क्या कांग्रेस को साथ लेके आप लोगों के ऊपर भारी पड़ा?
अभी तो शुरुआती रुझान है, अभी थोड़ा 1-2 घंटे और इंतजार करते हैं।
काफी रुझान से काफी साफ हो गया है कि किस तरफ हवा चली है।
ये है, हवा का रुख कई बार पलटा है और 2015 के विधानसभा चुनाव के परिणाम, इसलिए हमें पूरा यकीन विश्वास है हम महागठबंधन की सरकार बनाएंगे।
आप देख लेंगे, लेकिन मैं आपसे सिर्फ ये सवाल दो पूछना चाहती हूँ बहुत जल्दी। एक, क्या आपको लगता है कि कांग्रेस ने जिस तरह से देरी की तेजस्वी यादव को मुख्यमंत्री का चेहरा बनाने में, उसका थोड़ा बहुत नुकसान हुआ? अगर ऐसा नहीं करते तो शायद आपके चांसेस और अच्छे होते। और दूसरा, वोट चोरी बार बार उन्होंने उठाया, आप लोगों ने तो उतना उठाया नहीं।
अभी ये सारे सवालों का जवाब देना हम उचित नहीं समझते हैं जब तक पूरे परिणाम का इंतजार नहीं करते।
आपको लगता है कि पहले उनका अनाउंसमेंट हो जाना चाहिए था मुख्यमंत्री का चेहरा?
आप
इतना तो मान लीजिए।
कैसे मान सकते हैं? अभी हम कह रहे हैं हम सरकार बनाने जा रहे हैं, थोड़ा इंतजार कीजिए, सारे चीजों का जवाब देंगे।
अच्छा, आखिरी सवाल, क्या आपको लगता है, मैं वही सवाल दोबारा पूछ रही हूँ आपसे, क्या आपको लगता है कांग्रेस को थोड़ा सा पहले उनको अनाउंस कर देते और एडवांटेज होता?
देखिए, थोड़ा इंतजार कीजिए, सब क्लियर हो जाएगा, इसमें कहीं कोई दिक्कत नहीं है।
आप यही रहेंगे तब? मुझे बात करोगे आप?
हम तो कह रहे हैं कि हम 2 घंटे के बाद सब सवालों का आपका जवाब दे देंगे।
चलो ठीक है, 2 घंटे के बाद। And now I'm just getting, before I'm going to toss back to you, you can see the Lalten here, kind of little bit later, but the people over here are clued in to watch the television sets to get an idea of what the results are. You heard what Mrityunjay Tiwari had to say. Incidentally, he was one of the first persons who had insisted that the Congress party must announce Tejashwi Yadav as the CM face. He's not saying much now, but I think that hint is very much there. The RJD certainly was very upset with a lackluster campaign.
Well, they're being a little restrained here in trying to suggest that they didn't get the arithmetic right or whether the Congress was a liability. So that's a very instructive interview there. Let me go straight across to Arun Dhata, who's there with us, with a BJP MP from the BJP headquarters in Patna. Arun, over to you.
Yes, Rahul. I am at the BJP headquarters in Patna, and we have BJP's MP Manan Mishra with us. Manan ji, अभी we were listening to Mrityunjay Tiwari, RJD के जो नेता है, वो अभी भी ये कह रहे हैं कि आप इंतजार कीजिए, हमारी जीत होने वाली है।
देखिए, अब वो मृत्युंजय तिवारी, तेजस्वी जो भी कहें, लेकिन नतीजे सामने है, रुझान आपके सामने है, इसमें कोई बहुत बड़ा बदलाव आने को नहीं है। एनडीए की सरकार पूर्ण बहुमत से 2/3 से भी ज्यादा से हम बनाएंगे और ये अब सामने है। अब तेजस्वी कुछ भी कहें, उनके लोग कुछ भी कहें, उसमें कोई जान नहीं।
आरोप ये भी लगा जो आपने 10,000 रुपए की जो स्कीम थी आपकी, कि आप रिश्वत दी है आपने, उसके थ्रू लोगों को आपने वोट खरीदे हैं।
महिलाओं को अपने पांव पे खड़ा होने के लिए वो दिया गया, वो रिश्वत नहीं है, वो एक विकास के रास्ते में वो एक काम, अच्छा काम किया गया, तो उसको आप रिश्वत, ये तेजस्वी कुछ भी कहें, राहुल कुछ भी कहें, उसका कोई असर जनता पर नहीं है।
इस परफॉर्मेंस के लिए क्या आप मुद्दे अहम मानते हैं जो इस तरह के एनडीए की परफॉर्मेंस रही है?
लगातार माननीय मोदी जी के और नीतीश जी के नेतृत्व में महिलाओं के विकास के लिए, बुजुर्गों के लिए, युवाओं के लिए जो काम लगातार किए गए, आम जन के लिए, आप बिहार की सड़कें देख लीजिए, बिहार में बिजली की उपलब्धता देख लीजिए, ये सारे काम जब आप देखेंगे तो ये सबका एक मिला जुला असर जनता के दिमाग में था। जो उन्होंने बटन दबा के 6 तारीख को 11 तारीख को एनडीए की सरकार पूर्ण बहुमत के साथ बनाने का निर्णय लिया, वही
और जो आपके पार्टनर्स हैं अलायंस के, उनकी परफॉर्मेंस कैसे देखते हैं आप, क्योंकि अभी बीजेपी आगे है सबसे ज्यादा।
Well friends, let's have a quick look now at the strike rates, because this really is the untold story of this election. We were perhaps not expecting this. Even those that suggested that this was going to be a tight one had suggested that the JDU would be the #1 party, but that the RJD would hold its own, that its strike rate would be up there, the Congress would add as a force multiplier, and therefore this was going to be a tight one. But there you can see it's the BJP that is a very high strike rate there of 74%. Remember, it's contesting fewer seats this time. The JDU also contesting 101 seats, but clearly outperforming its own self over 2020, and that's because the LJP and some of the other alliance partners within the NDA have been able to transfer their vote. So you're seeing that big comeback by Nitish Kumar, sentiment driven most probably, but it also does tell you that while the JDU is back with 71%, there is a message in this. If these numbers 572, that the BJP is now beginning to be seen as an also India. Remember, it's the one state where the BJP has never come to power on its own. So is that changing? The RJD strike rate at 36%, it was at about 54% at the last 2020, and that was an election that was held during COVID. There was a lot of dissident vote that came through, but that is a poor statistic for it. It's holding on to its vote base. But we don't know if more Muslims have voted for it, and therefore maybe a few Yadav votes have shifted, and that's why it's sort of, and there's Congress very poor, underperforming, probably pulling that engine back. Let's go straight across to Shivani. Shivani, who joins me straight from Patna. Shivani, a big moment in this election, 4 or 5 rounds now down, these trends are holding, and this is not looking good for the MGB or the Congress in particular.
Absolutely. The Congress is going to be facing a lot of questions, Rahul, but you talked about that strike rate. The BJP strike rate currently better than the JDU. Will that make any difference to the equation on ground? Let me take that question directly to the BJP representative. क्या जो आपका equation है नीतीश कुमार के साथ, because of the fact that BJP has a better strike rate right now than JDU?
This is a win for NDA under leadership of Narendra Modi ji. NDA collectively is winning.
Under leadership of
Narendra Modi ji. Narendra Modi ji is the one who is leading NDA throughout the country. और यहाँ भी मोदी जी का जादू चला है.
तो आप मानते
जीत रही है. NDA is winning. NDA is winning.
नहीं तो चीफ मिनिस्टर पे कुछ अब क्या होगा डिसीजन?
Chief Minister. You know, electing a chief minister is a process. It's a constitutional process. So the NDA, MLAs and parliamentary board has to decide this. How can I sitting on your camera decide about who?
No, but there you have it. There you have it. Now the BJP is saying that the parliamentary board and the MLAs will decide the chief minister. Till yesterday you were saying Nitish Kumar is your chief minister.
We fought under leadership of Narendra Modi ji. Nitish Kumar ji was our face in Bihar. But now the thing, parliamentary board and MLAs will be deciding who will be the chief minister.
So there you have it. I think the first difference of the equation on ground is already beginning to emerge, and this is going to become the topic now, whether the equation on ground will change and there will be a difference in the chief minister. आप कैसे बांटते हैं? आपके alliance partner कह रहे हैं भाई अब तो decide होगा, MLAs बीजेपी के ज्यादा MLAs हैं.
देखिए, ये सारे एमएलए जानते हैं कि नीतीश कुमार जी ही चेहरा थे और उन्हीं के नेतृत्व में चुनाव लड़के सब जीत के आए हैं, और 2005 से लगातार जनता का आशीर्वाद नीतीश कुमार को प्राप्त हुआ. जिस तरह नीतीश कुमार जी ने पिछड़ों के लिए, अति पिछड़ों के लिए, दलितों के लिए, अल्पसंख्यकों के लिए, महिलाओं के लिए काम किया है, ये सामाजिक न्याय की जीत है. और 25 से 30 मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी बनेंगे, ये सारे विधानसभा, सारे जिलों में सारे एनडीए के नेताओं ने कहा है.
So, you know, the situation on the ground is now very clear. Yesterday when I spoke to the BJP Bihar president, he said Panch Pandav. They are calling their alliance an alliance of Panch Pandav, and in a way, all Panch Pandav have done well.
That's true.
But who's the Arjun out of that Pandavs is the big question.
Well,
and BJP certainly believes that they have hit the bullseye and they are the Arjun of this Mahabharat.
You know, the fact is right now, Shivani, that there will be a large number of local cadre who will get swept up by this emotion and maybe even veer towards hubris. But I think the senior heads at the center and those that really shape this alliance will decide. Let's go straight across now to Arunima, who is also amongst a large number of people. JDU office, the JDU outperforming in this particular election. Arunima, big relief for Nitish.
Yes, so at the JDU office, there's a steady stream of supporters who are coming in. More and more JDU karyakartas are now trooping into the office here. The district president has just walked in. Sanjay Jha, who's the JDU's working president, he is expected in a short while from now. जैसी उम्मीद थी कि JDU उभरेगी सबसे बड़ी पार्टी के हिसाब से एनडीए के अंदर, ऐसा लग रहा है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी JDU से आगे निकल जाएगी।
जी बिल्कुल, मुझे तो विश्वास है, लेकिन मैं ये भी कहना चाहता हूँ कि एनडीए एक हमारा एक परिवार है, ये साथ में चलें, कोई आगे कोई पीछे रहे।
क्या तैयारी है यहाँ पे? पटाखे ले आए हैं आप लोग?
पटाखे का भी तैयारी है, मिठाई का भी तैयारी है, लड्डू का भी तैयारी है, ढोल बाजे का भी तैयारी है। नीतीश कुमार मुख्यमंत्री थे और रहेंगे, टाइगर अभी जिंदा है।
अच्छा, नीतीश कुमार मुख्यमंत्री रहेंगे अगर बीजेपी के ज्यादा लोग जीत कर आए जेडीयू के मुकाबले, क्या तब भी नीतीश ही मुख्यमंत्री रहेंगे?
देखिए, बीजेपी कितना सीट गया है, मेरा एनडीए का साथी है और ये तय है कि पूरा एनडीए तय कर लिया है, पूरा बिहार कि नीतीश कुमार ही सीएम रहेंगे, तो दूसरा नहीं बनेगा, नीतीश कुमार ही रहेंगे।
लेकिन आपने कहा था 25 से 30, फिर से नीतीश 30 तक रहेंगे नीतीश कुमार?
बिल्कुल रहेंगे। जब बिहार की जनता ने उन पर अपना बेशुमार प्यार लौटाया, उन्होंने 20 सालों में जो काम किया, 20 साल में सत्ता रहने के बाद इतनी बड़ी बहुमत से जीत, जब कुमार उसका परिणाम है कि नीतीश कुमार पुनः गद्दी पे बैठने वाले हैं और उनके लिए गद्दी का मतलब है जनता की सेवा, ना कि निजी स्वार्थ।
Okay, so here at the JDU office, the Karyakartas don't care whether the BJP gets more numbers or the JDU gets more numbers. They are sure that it is Nitish Kumar who will be the chief minister, and not just the chief minister temporarily. Their view is that he is going to continue his full term. But this is definitely a debating point right now, whether NDA will see a change of guard sooner rather than later.
Sooner or rather than later, well, that's a point, because remember, there is also an equation at the center that needs to be maintained. Arunima, thank you very much for that. Let me just go straight across to Zach. Zach?
So on the Modi factor that you were asking, the rallies that the Prime Minister did in Bihar, he had about 13-14 rallies. It plots to about 90 odd seats, and look at it. I mean, it's a runaway lead for the NDA. 67 out of those 4 seats the NDA is leading. And if you look at, you know, the breakup between JDU, helping the JDU as much as it is helping the BJP, and it's across regions. It is in the eastern part of the state, which we were talking about, Trihut, which is the JDU stronghold. The central part of the state, the JDU has picked up a lot of seats. There's also a few seats up in the Champaran. So if you look at the Modi factor, it has made a significant difference.
It's kicking in. So obviously the trust factor, the credibility is important. Yes, you wanted to make a point, Nalin.
Add to this point, if you compare this Modi factor to 2020, you will see that the potency of this increased significantly. In the last election, in the rallies, seats that Modi campaigned on, and there's always a difference between a Vidhan Sabha election and a Lok Sabha election. In the last Vidhan Sabha, it was even Stevens, and it was a difficult seat.
This time, it's a complete three.
There you go.
It was neck and neck, even though the India Alliance had a slightly higher.
And that was a COVID election.
It was a COVID
so there was disaffection.
Fewer rallies also.
And fewer rallies, and also the migrants. Were so. And let's have a look actually at that migrant filter.
This time's Modi map. And the result of that is looking very similar to what happened a year ago in 2024. The similar seats and similar results.
So it's like almost like a 2 kind of a seat share break.
Yeah, that's a great for me personally and its brand. Of course, also hit the tracks there in Simanchal. That might have actually led a lot to the polarized nature of that particular outcome. But Nistula, did you see this coming?
Yes, I did. It was pretty clear, and I went fairly early in the election cycle because we had like people going in batches, and I said I'll go first. I went there even before the seat adjustment had been announced, and it was, as I said earlier also, this was
this the
an
first
election around Nitish Kumar.
Do you think it was the first mover's advantage?
I think everything worked for them, but there was also a huge overhang of sentimentality around Nitish. And there was a
Yes.
feeling among his voters that the last time they may have failed him, but this time they need to get him on par with the BJP so that there's no question about who's going to be the chief minister.
Yeah, I think there are just two words that explain this election in a simple way: entitlement and tone deaf. I suspect the Congress and Tejashwi said, I'm sorry to use Hindi sentence, but may baap. And I think that tone deafness, where they thought just by getting together they were going to win, that entitlement is going to cause them damage. Take a simple example of SIR. They kept going, and I mean, my way or highway, people say highway. But SIR, the people who may not want
more information on leads coming in through Griha. Atul, let me go straight across to Griha, who's in the hub, in the live result hub. Griha.
Yes, we have an update on Tejashwi Yadav. We do know that he is leading from Raghopur, but there are 30 rounds of counting, EVM countings that are going to happen. Right now, it's just the first round, and he's leading only by 893 votes so far, Rahul. We also have an update on Metli, another star candidate of the Bharatiya Janata Party. She maintains her lead. Again, first round of counting that is on, and the lead is only by 1826 votes. And there is a neck and neck that's going on, as the RJD candidate Kesari is right now struggling to maintain that lead. So he is trailing. Choti Kumari of BJP is leading as far as Chhapra is concerned. So how the fight really remains. But in very many of the constituencies, if we take a look at the constituencies where BJP is leading, there are about 6 rounds of counting that have taken place in a lot many of the BJP constituencies that we have, particularly in Muzaffarpur, where we see right now 3 rounds, and in Orai we have 6 rounds of counting completed so far. So it is a quick counting that is happening in very many of BJP seats.
What are you making out on the number of rounds in most of the seats? Is it 50%? Are we seeing more than 6, around 6, or is it fewer than that?
So that's what I was mentioning, Rahul, that wherever BJP is leading, we do see that the number of rounds of counting has in fact gone up to 6. And I mentioned Orai over here. There are some more seats where BJP is leading, where we do see how the number of the rounds of counting has increased. There you see in Sahibganj as well, where you have Raju Kumar Singh leading by 3,824 votes. There the 5th round of counting is happening. If I take a look at where RJD is leading, right now the maximum number of rounds so far is 3rd round, which is going on in Mahishi and also in Kurhani. These are the 2 places.
That's very interesting. Zach, what do you make of that?
Youth factor. I mean, we've been talking about migrant labor. So we looked at the top 10 districts where there is outflow of young people in the age group of 18 to 29, and it plots to about 90 odd seats. And if you look at it, Rahul, again, a bulk of these migrant seats are in the northern part of the state. They're either in Mithilanchal or they're up in the
Kosi region.
Yeah, and then there is, of course, a couple of these districts like Rohtas, etc. in the south. But again, look at the numbers. The NDA at 71 out of these 97 seats. The India Alliance only 25. And the point also being that last time people were willing to give the RJD a chance because they had 19 seats more. They had 44 seats in the same migrant labor belt last time around. They're almost 20 seats down this time. All of that has gone.
So these are young voters, perhaps up till about 35. They were supposed to go the other way.
Exactly.
They were not responsive to Nitish.
It's not working.
It's not worked for the RJD. So are we seeing, Swapan Das Gupta, are we seeing the young invest in the future by suggesting that these are the people who can actually do something for us?
Well, I think
rather than just be swayed by
the migrants and most of the other castes are basically moving with a general tide. I don't think there's anything specific here.
No, because unemployment was a big issue.
But they feel that there is a better hope.
That's right.
For them. You know, the credibility.
So they're investing in hope.
The credibility of the NDA was greater than the credibility of the
So brand Modi and brand Nitish represent certain
They
things.
complement each other in various ways. And I think, you know, much of the conjecture about whether Nitish will be upstaged in a palace coup at this moment is grossly premature. Given the nature of these results.
Improbable though?
I think they are, at present, this is unlikely to happen, partly because there's a resounding verdict, and if a chief minister who's been responsible, who's been a face of that campaign, is suddenly overthrown, it's just very, very bad.
JDU currently
It's
is
not
more than the BJP.
That's an important point. That's a very important point also. Now the JDU sort of pulling ahead.
Higher than the BJP.
Between the JDU, I think I want to make a point. You see, the JDU as a grassroots entrenched party has been very feeble. It's been a party of leaders. This is probably the first election which we are seeing in which the JDU may, and I still say may, be acquiring some social depth.
Okay,
this hasn't happened in the past.
That's a very interesting point. Yes, Mr. Shastri, I also want to go across to Suhail Seth on a particular point that he was raising. Yes.
I was just making a small point which is an extension of what Swapanji is, especially when it comes to this youth voter. There was this discussion which direction the youth vote go in, how would they express their position. I think that trust has been expressed in the leadership of the NDA, and that's coming out clearly in where the
four elections after the 2024 setback for the NDA, and in those three, you've seen a sweep literally. For the NDA.
Haryana,
and that,
Maharashtra.
Yes, and Delhi, of course. The only state was Jammu and Kashmir, where in Jammu they did fantastically well. In Kashmir, they couldn't sort of make those roads as they were hoping to. But Zaka, that's significant, isn't it? The fact that another very critical election in the Hindi heartland, where this particular alliance had stumbled in 2024, even the heartland now responded.
No, I think it's also the BJP's way of saying that 2024 general elections were a blip. There was something that went wrong, it did, and that's why they came down to 240 from 303. But now it's
all those problems.
Yeah, now they have responded to those problems.
They've learned those lessons and they've attended to.
Well, keep watching YouTube. Your viewership has really counted on a day when we are counting sentiment across the board. So thank you very much, viewers, for staying with us. But Zach, I just want to come back to you because you're the data care, and I want to ask you a couple of questions fundamentally. Where is that vote, that woman vote going in those constituencies that matter?
No, it's overwhelmingly going to the NDA. I mean, there are 124 seats, which is half the Vidhan Sabha, half the state, where women have outvoted men by 10%. It's going overwhelmingly in favor of the NDA. Look at this, 97 out of those 124. And these, mind you, are pickups from 2020. 24 of those are pickups from 2020. So if you were to go by just the 2020 results, then this number instead of 97 would be about 73. And that perhaps would have made a difference because this is going all across the different regions of Bihar, and particularly a cluster of these JDU seats. Even in that, if you were to break up and see which of the parties are leading, the BJP has 43 out of those 97, the JDU has 41, the LJP 10, and these women, particularly in the second of polls, whether it's in the northern part, in some parts
even
of
Simanchal,
here in Trihut as well, here in the eastern part of the state, they've ended up winning a lot more seats compared to 2020. You want to replicate this map from 2020? Just go back and look at the 2020
in the Anga region
in these same seats and look at the NDA.
Zaka, even in the Anga region, which is the southern region on the eastern side, you have a few of the NDA seats, BJP seats opening up. You also have JDU seats there. That's very interesting because that suggests that even traditional voters of the RJD, perhaps even amongst the Yadav women, are not sticking to caste. They are going for something different. And you can see most of that even in Simanchal, Zach. If you look very closely, there are now blips of orange. There you can see it in that central corridor of Simanchal, and it comes down to the Anga region, and you can see those gains.
And look at this thing for the JDU, the large number of seats that the JDU has got in this pocket, and a large number of seats that the BJP has got in this pocket.
So you're talking about the Kosi Mithilanchal belt.
This belt again. Here the JDU seems to have done well, and here the BJP seems to have done well. But I think
so. When we categorize Mahilas in our data bank, what do we mean by this? Are we saying
in these 124 constituencies? Let me go back to the original. In these 124 constituencies, the women have outvoted the men by 10%, which means for every 10 male voters, there were 11 female voters. So there's one extra
given the
voter
fact that there was actually an extra voter this time, or two maybe, in some places, more than men. This will not just turn out, this is absolute numbers.
These belts where the women dominated, it seems to have gone overwhelmingly in favor of the NDA.
Nalin.
When we were looking at turnout figures and juxtapose them with stronghold seats, you look at JDU strongholds, and by stronghold I'm defining them as seats which the party has won for the three times in a row. In BJP strongholds and in JDU strongholds, the turnout has a percentage has been much higher in terms of the ratio of that compared to RJD strongholds.
So is there now a degree of disaffection or fatigue with the message that the MGB was putting out, or with the leadership itself?
But is there a message that they put out?
At one level they were focusing, let's be honest, it's not as if Bihar is streaked ahead on certain parameters. So we should be honest about that. Their message was that, look, we can create the jobs that haven't been created in 20 years.
But the message was, we are not Nitish, we are not Modi. That there is no credible plan.
They were highlighting a deficit. Now, why haven't people...
I've got a point to make on this, that if you look at, and let's look at this seriously. If you look at the promises the Mahagadbandhan was making, they were making even more promises than the NDA, right? And it would have cost them about 60,000 crores. 36,000 crores is the cost of the promises that the NDA has made. The problem with that kind of messaging is that it's just Me Too messaging. There was no coherent vision of a development of a state level. You were saying that, okay, these guys give you this, I'll also give you this, a little bit that, but there was also a memory of General Raj that came back. So in that, and also I think this alliance is not a coherent alliance in the way that the NDA alliance came together. The Congress and
the stronghold seats. So the JDU had its worst performance last time. They had 43, of which 24 seats they've never lost in the last 3 elections. 21 of those 24 seats the JDU has managed to retain. So which means that's almost a 90%, 90 plus strike rate. So 21 out of 24, of which 20 are JDU, 1 to the BJP, which means that this party has come back literally almost from the brink, because last time, they were down to just 43 seats. This time they've come up to, right now if you look at the state, they're currently the single biggest party. The last time I checked, they were at 74 and BJP at 73. So 75 and 73. So which means that not only does Nitish Kumar get another term, but I think the JDU from 43 to 75, that's a significant, it's the biggest gainer of this election.
Let's have a look at these swing seats, because that gives you an idea of really the switches that have taken place, if at all. So let's pull out the swing seats, because there were about 53, if I'm not mistaken, Zach, that were settled by 2%. There was a difference there. So let's have a look at those swing seats, because they give you an idea of transference. So if a particular mandate is turning, it's the swing seats that will give you the best idea of just how much the mood has changed.
We were also talking about it in the morning. I think one of the reasons why the alliance did not work was because the two principal parties, the RJD and in this case the Congress, were hell-bent on two different issues. The RJD kept talking about unemployment and youth and migration and so on, and the Congress, chose to make SIR the biggest issue. And if you look at the SIR, it's had very minimal impact. Look at that again. If you were to go back to the overall state, out of the 106 seats where the SIR impact was felt most, the NDA had 78, which means that, look, I'm not saying that the issue was not alive or important back in August, where people were saying, we can't find these documents that the Election Commission is asking. But once that issue is settled in September, then no one was talking about the SIR. The SIR was not a matter of concern, because I have got my voter ID, I have my name in the list, and I can go and vote.
So many people were saying, I think it was Nistula who was making that point, that perhaps this was done to detract attention from Tejashwi itself, because there is a sort of internecine competition. Is that what really happened?
Yes, through the Voter Adhikar Yatra, a lot of the crowds, it was being seen, was of course generated by the RJD, which has a cadre in all these areas. And before the Gandhi Maidan final, it seems the father and son, Lalu Prasad Yadav, Tejashwi, had a heated conversation, and he told him that the father told him that it's not your job to make sure that Rahul Gandhi is a leader. You have to ensure that you remain the leader. So at the Gandhi Maidan, the final Congress guys were there, but very few RJD. They didn't turn up. He didn't turn up. And then directly after that, he set off on his own yatra. Tejashwi set off on his own yatra, and there were no other allies who travelled with him.
I've got an alert. This is again related to the elections, but we're now trending not just on YouTube, but we're trending #1 on Twitter. We're the most watched Indian channel now on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram Live, And of course, we said in this morning that we are number one on YouTube as well.
It's the
also because of our guests. Also because of our guests. So we're leading in all social media platforms now. So wherever you're watching, thank you viewers for reposing your trust and your faith once again in India's number one election destination, that is CNN News 18. Yes.
Yes. I want to make a point, Zakir.
Yes.
We are referring to trust. And I think this election is also about the trust quotient which we have been talking about since morning. There have been a galore of promises made by different political parties. And this result indicates that the trust in the promises made by the NDA is something which seems to have appealed to the people.
Much more.
For two reasons. One, the performance of the government in the last 5 years, especially when it came to the Mahila vote. It's not just about that 10,000, but what was done by the party earlier. And secondly, in the case of the...
It is also about the 10,000. A lot of people will say that you got 10,000 into your account in September with a promise of perhaps more. You know that.
And also before that 10,000, there was a lot that was done for women.
Yes, of course, age of a woman's life. Through intermediate, right up till the time she got married and beyond.
The program.
That's right.
And the number of people who benefited from that. And secondly, in the case of the BJP, their projection of what they are doing in the other states and at the national level. I think both these factors led to this trust question.
We underestimate the power of the woman vote. A large number of men are outside of the state. They are the remittance banks really of that economy. And they make most of the decisions at home. So we do underestimate that sentiment. Yes.
I want to make a point here that 6 months ago, the NDA took a call on what was going wrong and they took corrective measures, right? The scheme for 10,000 bags, all of that, the administrative measures, electricity, of a slew of measures. Open has been saying they got the caste. I'm going to give you 2 data points to illustrate this. If you look at the streets where there are friendly fights, whatever a friendly fight means in an election, 11 such, India is winning 8 of those.
There you go.
And then if you look at RJD strongholds, it's the streets which RJD has won last 3 times in a row, it's losing half of those. It's 5-5.
At least at the JDU,
how they fought the election and how the India has fought the election.
At least at the JDU headquarters in Patna, they've called the election. Arunima, over to you.
I can't hear you very clearly, but if you have come to me, the JDU Daftar, the JDU office is suddenly teeming with supporters, slogans, and also, people who are busy giving sound bites. This entire JDU office currently, there are various workers in small groups who are also cheering Nitish Kumar. नीतीश कुमार ही अगले मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे।
बिल्कुल कहीं कोई शक समाधान का कोई सवाल ही नहीं है और पूर्ण बहुमत में एनडीए की सरकार और मुख्यमंत्री के पद की बागडोर
की क्या तैयारी है?
तैयारी बहुत बड़ा जश्न होगा। अभी 1-2 घंटा इंतजार कीजिए, बहुत बड़ा तैयारी है।
Okay, so they were telling me that there are laddus being prepared. क्या विपक्ष उड़ गया?
एकदम हवा में
उड़ा हुआ है, पहले ही से इसमें कोई शक नहीं है। पहले ही से उनका हालत खराब है। ललटेन भूल गया मैडम। विपक्ष पहले थी ही नहीं कभी, सिर्फ यहाँ विपक्ष रही है और कमल खिल रहा है विपक्ष को एकदम बिल्कुल 50-52
अभी जिंदा है, टाइगर अभी जिंदा है। नीतीश कुमार जब तक मुख्यमंत्री हैं, वैकेंसी किसी के लिए खाली नहीं है। नीतीश कुमार मुख्यमंत्री थे, हैं और रहेंगे।
अच्छा, so there are loud slogans, the flags are out. One comment there is, तीर लालटेन को बुझा दिया है. Lalten is the RJD symbol, तीर is the symbol of the JDU. Even though Bharatiya Janata Party, the other alliance partner in NDA, is doing equally well, the JDU office, the Karyakarta's mood is that this vote is for Nitish Kumar, and on expected lines, the entire office is decked up with Nitish Babu's picture, Sushashan Babu's picture, and all across this JDU office, that is the sentiment that this vote is for him.
Well, those crowds will build up, but I just want to caution our viewers once again that look, we're still in a large number of seats, still in the early rounds, so 3, 4, and I don't want to sort of suggest that 2015 is going to happen once again, but it might. We never know. India is an open democracy where every vote counts. and in this particular election there has been a turnout bump. So things can still change. The RJD still believes that they're in this contest. The JDU has called it for their leader, who they say Tiger is still Zinda. Not
Rahul,
yes.
I just want to make a point about the lack of the circumspection in the RJD camp. You know, they haven't yet started the process of bloodletting, etc. There's a very practical issue involved. If the moment the RJD or the sort of beleaguered force concedes defeat, what you have is their in the counting centers all deserting en masse.
Right.
And that is a catastrophic thing. So as far as they are concerned, they will till the very last moment maintain the pretense that we are in the fight, that these are early days, etc., etc., and because otherwise, you know,
everyone disappears.
It's bad for democracy.
Yes.
I think there's one point that also needs to be made, that if you look at the top three BJP in terms of public persona, Honorable PM, HM and Yogi ji, look at the number of rallies they did and how many hours a day they were campaigning versus Tejashwi or Rahul Gandhi was
Rahul Gandhi disappeared for 2 months.
Now,
he disappeared for 2
eventually
months.
the people want to see who they're voting for, and if you have no message, no presence, then guess what? There are no votes.
Well, people said that the Congress tried to play a different hand this time. They reached out more to OBCs and so on and so forth. There's a party that's trying to reorientate its strategy. So
But still, you can
clearly
do
not.
things, right?
Clearly not. Rahul Verma, 3 cephalogical points from you.
I'll give you 5.
Five.
I think given the numbers we are
Everything
seeing,
in abundance this time.
given the numbers we are seeing, one should basically call this a combination of factors. It's a perfect storm. NDA started with a bigger social coalition to start with. Second, they have an advantage on leadership, right? Like if you compare 2 national leaders from each side and 2 regional leaders, on both counts they have an advantage. Then they had schemes up to election. Fourth, I think opposition gave away this. They had some head start, but as the campaign progressed, they did not act
you're
like
saying combination. How would you back that? How would you say that the combination has worked? Is it because both the partners, the JDU and the BJP, have done better than perhaps even their own expectations, given the numbers here?
both seem to be getting better, like so they are contesting lesser seats, but their strike rates have gone up. Right, and not just JDU and BJP, even LJP, HAM and RLP is also pulling up the rate. So it seems like a perfect sort of like.
It's even interesting because some of the junior partners were sort of opposed to the fact that Chirag Paswan was getting these additional seats. There was that talk also.
Oh, but that kind of jostling should be between constituents. Right. No one is going to, everyone
so
is
you get the best deal for your own alliance.
Yeah, exactly. Like while maintaining your own presence,
just coming to you.
Right? It's always in an alliance, you should also get the best deal, an alliance should also get the best deal, right? Only then you will perform as a unit and win. So it's everything, and then the schemes work, and then I think like opposition, their narrative was disparate, and so at the end the elections become competition between 2 sort of like units, and one look more credible.
Well, look at the numbers right now, friends. Just look at the numbers. 243 leads we've got, and out of that the NDA is leading on 175. The BJP and JDU within the NDA neck and neck, and that's a big number. The India bloc 63, underperforming even from last time in an election that they were supposed to go toe to toe with the NDA. That's not happened. And if you really look at the Congress side of the fence, down to 12, though the Congress is contesting a fewer number of seats this time, but marginally the left almost not pulling its weight there. The junior partners of the NDA doing exceedingly well. LJP 18 out of 28, that's a big number for the LJP. Knock-on effect means that the JDU is back in. This is a perfect storm that Rahul Verma was talking about. So at 10:45 in the morning, viewers, you have a situation where the NDA is placed. Number of pollsters predicting a tight fight. We don't have the vote share numbers, do we, Nalin, at this moment? But I would like some of those vote share numbers. Okay, so just pull them out. Yes.
Prashant Kishore.
So I want to ask you, Prashant Kishore factor. I was about to come to that, and I just want to take you guys all across this. Prashant Kishore, what happened? Who's he knocking on?
See, I don't know. In some ways, his campaign damaged Tejashwi's ability to emerge as a credible alternative
to the youth, for the youth. So he's taken away. But how do we know? Because what is his vote share? Many people said that if that vote share exceeded 5%, he'd be trouble for the NDA.
No, sometimes things may not turn out, like, you may not be able to do precise calculation. But think of it. His campaign basically showed that Tejashwi, who himself is sort of like not well educated and that kind of things, how will he be able to deliver the biggest promise that he's making? So in some ways, it basically brings
stability. So the Prashant Kishore factor not kicking in, the third alternative not kicking in.
No, it's also more than that. I think the Congress in particular, as the leading opposition party in the country, must seriously reflect as to why it is being seen as an anti-growth party. And I think this is becoming more and more marked everywhere. Rahul Gandhi's diversions into pet issues of theirs is not having any effect on the ground. He might be causing himself up to certain editorial writers, but it is not. Now look at the SIR issue. It was a non-issue which he's trying. He's trying to make the constitution, which for some fluke of a reason he managed to get some resonance in 24. He's trying to make that into a main issue. But there's been the larger issues which are there in the country have not been at all addressed by him. And as far as the economic issues are concerned, he's a blank. It's a complete blank.
So he doesn't have a positive roadmap for change.
They are moving, they are trying to emulate the left wing of the Democratic Party in the United States. That's
I thought you were going to come to that because that's the Mamdani sort of streak.
There is that streak, which is a self-defeating proposition.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work in Bihar, it can't work anywhere else.
Far predates Mamdani.
Yeah, it predates.
That's true. It does. In fact, we don't know which populism has actually influenced which.
Prashant Kishore, I want to say he was one of the unknowns of this election. Nobody knew how much he would get, who he would hurt. The presumption was that because he was Prashant Kishore Pandey, that he would be hitting the BJP and the NDA Gadbandhan. But he has been pretty Catholic in terms of just out at everybody. He attacked BJP.
So I want to ask you, because the MGB
is the refugees of the.
Let's go to Pavan Kheda, the first real Congress reaction coming from the inner think tank. Let's listen.
Well, how do you assume this, that we believe it? As I said, the initial trends in itself show that Gyanesh Kumar Gupta appears to be succeeding against the people of Bihar.
अच्छा सर, चुनाव में इतनी मेहनत की, कार्यकर्ता आपका जो है वो बूथ पे लड़ा, उस कार्यकर्ता को कोई मैसेज
अभी देंगे, आप इंतजार करिए। अभी जैसा कि मैंने कहा, ये शुरुआती रुझान है और कार्यकर्ता भी समझ रहा है इस बात को कि ये लड़ाई बीजेपी, कांग्रेस, आरजेडी, जेडीयू की नहीं रही। अब ये लड़ाई सीधा ज्ञानेश कुमार गुप्ता और भारत की जनता की लड़ाई है। मैं एक सीट और एक पार्टी की बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं एक विस्तृत बात कर रहा हूं कि ये बहुत बड़ी लड़ाई है।
कांग्रेस ने जितना जोर सीट बंटवारे में लगाया था, अपने हिस्सेदारी में लगाया था, आपको लगता है उतना आशानुकूल परिणाम?
मैं बार बार एक ही लाइन बोल रहा हूं, आप अलग अलग तरीके से कुछ भी पूछिए। ये चुनाव अब पार्टियों से ऊपर उठ चुका है। ये चुनाव सीधा चुनाव आयोग वर्सेस पीपल ऑफ इंडिया है, चुनाव आयोग वर्सेस पीपल ऑफ बिहार है।
अच्छा, टिकट वितरण में कहीं
अरे आप कहाँ आप दूसरी बातों पे आ गए? जब सीधी एक ही लाइन में सब कुछ समझ में आ रहा है, गागर में सागर है, तो फिर काहे यहाँ वहाँ की बात करें? Thank you.
Well, viewers, predictable Congress reaction. We could have written this yesterday, you could have written this tomorrow, you could have written this 6 months back, saying that at the end of the day, it's the Bihar voter against the election commission, damaging comment, without any proof. The Supreme Court to come forward, submit a signed affidavit, submitted before the election commission with their proof, so that action can be taken, so that even the Supreme Court can scrutinize. But the Congress hasn't done so. Yesterday, viewers, the election commission put out a press release. The first 3 points of that press release talked about how absolutely zero complaints had been received by the Election Commission after the SIR or much after that when the final voter lists were put out. Also, when polling finished, there was not a single complaint by any of the political parties, let alone the opposition, about any manipulation. In fact, there's not going to even be one recount in all of Bihar, a huge achievement given the fact that this time there were only 2 phases. And Bihar is known to be a bit turbulent sometimes on the ground. But despite that, viewers, not one incident of manipulation, malfeasance that could have led to a repoll or violence, nothing. And here you have the Congress party trying to stir passions by suggesting that the people's vote has been stolen by an intermediary that is supposed to be the guardian of the democratic process. Nalin Mehta, this is not good. Sorry to say, this is Trumpian. This is what led to the insurgency in DC. I'm sorry, this is not a great message.
If you challenge every result, then you undermine the legitimacy of the entire system itself and the democratic framework itself.
Which is what they're doing.
And I don't think this issue is getting any resonance on the ground at all in terms of voters. The point I want to make, Rahul, is that what are the 2-3 messages from this election? One is, politically, psychologically, the BJP has grown. Its vote share increased by 2-3%. The JDU has maintained its vote share but has played a much smarter political game, so it's gained disproportionately far more than it would have otherwise. The RJD has held its ground in its core areas. It's retained its vote share about 0.2% down compared to last time, and the same as the 2024 election. What it tells you is it's only which is the Yadav vote to most of it, and the Muslim vote. It's got its politics wrong completely. Right. It's become a sectarian kind of party, if you like. So, and if you compare the two alliances, the NDA got its, firstly they did hard-nosed politics. You know, they took corrective measures administratively. Yeah. They got the right social matrix, and the opposition alliance, they didn't get the chemistry of the alliance right at all.
That's a very good point. Those questions will have to be asked. You wanted to make a point, ma'am.
Yeah. So going back to the reason why SIR became an issue for the opposition, we also have to, the question they ask is that why, why is states?
Well, the NDA is up at 180 now.
There's a change in electorate behavior as well.
Yeah.
Because I think 2024 Lok Sabha, I think there has been some kind of a spook in the electorate as well. I think that's why we see the numbers of people coming out to vote as well.
Okay, Mr. Shastri.
As you mentioned, the NDA is now moving to 181, and this typically happens as you come to the close of the election, where the one leading moves higher. You will notice the RJD has been coming down also.
This is an absolute whitewash, really. This is, I hate using that term tsunami because it's sort of associated with destruction, but this is a wave unprecedented.
Undoubtedly, it's a wave caused by a Bihar double-engine NDA.
And more voters coming in. More voters coming in, exercising a preference towards the NDA. This will appears as a massive shot in the arm.
Not just shot in the arm. I think there's a basic issue with the Congress.
Yeah.
Power without proximity. They talk down to everybody. Early on, you would have the basics of, Janta Janardan hai, unke vote ko hum accept karte hain. Here, there is not even an acknowledgement that X number of crore people have exercised their mandate.
That's right.
That they've done it. They just come out with SIR. Well, and it's like teaching the people what to do.
Let me tell our viewers, we have a bag of tricks that we are going to now unfold, which helps you visualize this data, and we're going to pull out some of our tools, and we're going to show you where this election has been won or lost, depending on which side of the fence you're on, or why these leads are now going to take on perhaps a more definitive characteristic. I don't want to get ahead of myself because that's not the style at CNN News 18, but I think it would require now a rabbit emerging from the hat to say that this election outcome is going to reverse, because the gap is just too much now, isn't it? The gap is too much, Rahul Verma, for things to change dramatically. Even in 2015, things were still sort of up in the air, margins were small, a large number of seats had not been called, but here it appears that the counting has taken place quickly, and there doesn't seem to be that sort of lag.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think trends are going to reverse. You might see 10% movement here and there in terms of seat share, but usually what we have known that once a party takes a big lead or an alliance takes a big lead, there is a bump towards the end in favor of them. And so what we are heading to is perhaps 2010 kind of victory which BJP and JDU had together, or 2015 kind of a victory which Nistula was just pointing out when JDU was part of RJD. So it's a massive mandate and much more like
and that massive mandate is now reflecting. Let's just pull out those strike rates, big numbers. As I said, viewers, these are our bag of tricks, analytical tools that will help you understand this mandate a little better. 76% is a strike rate for the BJP. Almost similar, mirror image, the JDU, they're neck and neck within that alliance. Healthy competition, you can call it. The LJP, which we haven't projected, has also a great strike rate. Perhaps not as good as these two lead engines, but it has done its job of transferring a large number of votes into the BJP and the JDU, specifically the JDU. The JDU has doubled its numbers and more this particular election. So clearly they got the chemistry right. The RJD 27%, half of what it was in the last election in 2020, and that means that there has been a significant erosion of perhaps the other caste that had allied to it, or even the youth voter that many people believe would make Tejashwi the new face of the youth. Remember, in poll after poll, he was leading as the chief ministerial preference. Clearly, his own popularity, or what those polls suggested were his own popularity, has not knocked on to his party, which has big repercussions, not just for Bihar politics, but also for the RJD and the leadership and the Yadavs, the family at the top, the first family, Yadav family, big problem. And also the Congress, 18% strike rate, out of the game at halfway, 122. Let's look at these numbers. You can see the cart coming around, the Likki Choka cart coming around, and it's going to give you the numbers there. The NDA at 181, there you can see it. The Litti Chowka has been consumed today with great fanfare by the NDA, doing fantastically well at 181, unprecedented. And let me now go back to our... I didn't see this coming. Shah, in interview after interview, specifically to Rahul Joshi, the first one, made it very clear that he is expecting a 2/3. This is now in that territory.
Amit Shah in many interviews has said that he will not say lower than this, right?
As a party, this is a tough election. I mean, Bihar is a notoriously tough state to gauge.
Oh, true, but how can Amit Shah just say, oh, we will only get one more seat than the half mark, right? Amit Shah always has to say that we are winning 2/3 or 3/4. So it's not that he alone could see it. I think once the exit poll came, there was always a possibility.
There was only one exit poll that went to this territory, and that was a Chanakya exit poll.
Exit pollsters.
And Chanakya read Chanakya.
I shouldn't say this, but most pollsters are not well trained to convert votes into seats properly.
Wow.
Especially don't weigh this kind of data with the gender differential turnout, then you could get any kind of number.
So previous elections in Bihar have been hyper-local. Many people have used this term. This time it doesn't seem to be.
You see, there was a narrative, at least in the English language section of the population, which suggested that Bihar is a dysfunctional state, that Bihar is actually going to collapse, that Bihar is like the old thing about Bihar being a state of mind, etc. Now, what these results show, increased turnout, no violence, a pretty emphatic victory, and a pretty emphatic rejection. All of these show that there is that dysfunctionality is not in. What we are seeing in Bihar is that Bihar is gradually becoming more and more a normal state of the Indian Union, and to my mind that's a huge achievement.
Huge achievement. Land responding once again.
Yes, it is responding, and I think that question still remains for the BJP. You know, this is the only Hindi-speaking state where they don't have a chief minister they haven't had a chief minister ever of their own. This is a handsome victory nevertheless, and as I was saying earlier, it looks like a 2015 mandate except for the other side, which is the NDA, that last time Mahagathbandhan had got it in 2015. There had been a lot of confidence, very quiet confidence from the NDA side through that election.
One big preconceived notion, given the fact that there are 1 in 4 voters are youth voters, Nalin, that the youth was not responding, that Gen Z was not responding to the BJP,